Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of Screen Time Continuum. I am Nick, and I am joined, as always, by Keelan. How you doing?
I'm doing great in yourself, brother. How about you?
Good. I was trying to have the intro start up, but for some reason it wasn't pulling up on the computer, and I just had like a couple blank 2 seconds there. So I apologize for that, everybody.
Hey, the cost of doing it live, they get it a different way every other time.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to make snafus, no problem. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. We are very excited. We are having the penultimate episode, the episode you've all been waiting for. It's been 8 weeks in the making, and we're finally here. We're talking about the series finale of Game of Thrones, season 8. And Keelan, what do you got, man? First thoughts in your mind right now. What's going on?
The first thought in my mind about the series, I'm like, okay, so let's be clear. I'm probably going to make a few series references rather than just season references. But my full thoughts about the series, not the season, the series, it was I can understand, what the love was. I can understand what the hate was. But overall, for the series, I can't say I am overall disappointed. For the season...
yes.
My first thoughts on this season. Really? Why? Like,
yeah,
it's like 3 seasons in one.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. And not even in one, it's 3 seasons and 6 episodes.
For real? Yeah. We got a half of a season.
Because I think last episode we talked, I said, we got 8 more episodes left. And here I was thinking, we have 8 more episodes left. No,
you said 6. 7. You said 7. We both were. And I thought 7. The same because I hadn't looked ahead. And I thought that we had 7, the same as the most recent season. And so what I see is we went, what was it? The very first one was 8. Then we got 10. Then we went from 10 to 7 to 6.
Yeah.
Sounds like they wanted out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and now that we can talk about it openly, we can have a discussion about all the things that pissed us off about this season. And I think if you guys have been Thinkering followers, you probably have seen my take on this. So I'll make sure that Keelan gives as much of his take as possible. But yeah, I agree with you. The timing and the pacing of the entire season was awful. It jumped from spans of time to location, and it felt like, we're doing this now. We're doing that now. We're doing this. And it's just like, okay, nonstop. Every episode is something that, like, in every episode there was like 4 or 5 things that would have taken a season to happen in the earlier seasons.
Right. No, this was more confusing than the O.J. Simpson TV movie. Like,
was that with Cuba?
Yeah, that was the one with Cuba where they started at the end and then ended up in the middle and then was at the beginning at the end. And
yeah.
And it's like, now, of course, now that I'm an adult and I know the story, I get it. Like, so I understand what was going on there. However, as a child, when I first saw it, I was that confused, and I had to really pause at a certain point during this season and stop and say, okay, wait. So connect the dots here. That happened. Carry the 1, throw away that. Okay, I understand now.
Yeah.
and not to say that it was confusing as much as it was just everywhere. It was just so scattered. You had to pull it together. And
there was no time to breathe really at all.
Right. And I am almost under the impression that all of the writers did not read the books. And I didn't read the books, but judging by the way we started to where we ended, I am almost under the impression all of the writers didn't read the books.
Here's the wrinkle in that. Unfortunately, there are 2 books that have not been written in this series. So although I do agree with you that maybe the writers didn't know how to handle the things, what happened was that the creators got bullet points from the author George R.R. Martin, basically saying this is what's going to happen to each of the characters by the end of the series. And it was up to them to fill in that space between all of the bullet points that they got from the author. The problem is that they just kept with the bullet points. They didn't flesh out any of the space in between the major events that happened. They just literally stacked them on top of each other and let that happen as it did. And it kind of reminds me of, and I thought of like, I was trying to think of the perfect metaphor for this season. And it's like, you remember when you had like a math test and you say you were perhaps cheating, and got the answers off of a sheet, or you knew a friend who was in the same class and he had the answers for you, but then you realize that the math question says show your work.
Yes, that is exactly. Yeah, okay, I got.
So that's what this season feels like to me. It's like, yeah, you had the answers right, but you didn't show any of that work. You didn't show any of the process of how that was supposed to happen. And you just said, okay, but this is the right answer. And you're just going to have to take it.
Right. And there was just, okay, that's another thing. Aside from the logical roller coaster, as far as chronology and keeping things in symmetry with the storyline, something else I thought that was very, very it wasn't fully thought out with the storyline and the way it went. So you start at the beginning of this season, we know what's going on. How are we done and through with the Night King halfway through the series? I mean, through the season, excuse me.
Yeah, at the end of episode 3, it's a wrap.
It's done. And I'm not going to get there yet. I was very thrilled and I really like how that played out, but I have some things about that. But before we get to all of that, it's simply you gave us an entire, what are we going to call it? You gave us about 100 hours almost.
Yeah.
And when you get to the 100-hour mark, you just spit at us. You don't even don't even try to utilize the last little bit you have. If I've gotten as far as they got with this series, right? Once you've gotten to the end, drag that thing out. I understand you've gotten paid already, but this isn't about the money.
Give us some more after the end. I totally agree with you. They could have added another episode of just what happened at the end.
They could have at minimum given us 10 episodes.
Yeah, that's true.
At minimum given us, and that's why I said 3 episodes in one. At minimum, we could have gotten 10, and okay, at least then you would have given us a little more dialogue, a little more discussion, a little more Danny and John, a little more Varys and Tyrion, a little more everything. You know what's sad? I wanted more Cersei.
Oh yeah, she literally was just standing outside of the window
mute the entire series,
the entire season. Yeah,
or excuse me, season. Yeah, more Qyburn.
Yeah.
Give me more Qyburn before you just smash his head into a rock. Give me more. You've made him the Dr. Frankenstein of this entire thing. You've made him the omnipotent sorcerer, so to speak, aside from the Red Witch. He's in a sense, he is a sorcerer based on the fact that he's not working within a religion, he's working within science.
Yeah.
Science and magic come in they fall very close. His words as well. He made that statement. So with all of the buildup you gave behind him and his knowledge and how he was able to accomplish all of these feats, you just don't like what you're saying to me. Now you're out of here.
Dash his head against the rock. We got things to do. We got people to see. We got the Clegane Bowl. Come on, man.
Right now, right, the Clegane Bowl. That was probably one of, I'll say, 3, maybe 4 events in this season that actually got worked out properly.
I agree. That was probably a handful of satisfying moments.
Yeah, I agree. And to even, we'll just briefly get to that. So, and for, I guess that's the first character we'll start with is the Hound.
Yeah,
I really like how they gave his character through the series a change of heart, a different outlook. Really, that's really what he had. He had a different outlook. He started as this person who thought this is the way my life has to be. And at the end of it all, I know what I have to do, which is take out my brother if he ever gets out of hand. Yeah, I just have to practice my murdering skills, basically, until it's time for me to murder the ultimate foe. And eventually he starts to see, oh, crap, I'm enabling 80% of the BS going on around me. I'm enabling 80% of this before Joffrey.
Yeah.
You know, he had to realize that when he came to that realization, which of course came by him being scared out of his mind because he's scared of fire. He came to that realization. He is scared. What's the first thing he did? He didn't run and tuck tail. Everybody, tried to call him a coward. The first thing he did is went and found Sansa. He didn't run across Sansa. He was looking for Sansa.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Because I think that there was a shred of decency in him always. It was just the way Joffrey used him.
Correct.
That kind of made him that monster.
Right. Well, because even before that, everybody feared him and respected him, but he didn't have to go just literally. He wasn't killing it every time he was on the screen, but with Joffrey, he was. Yeah. And I agree that changed his mindset. He went and looked for Sansa, immediately trying to save her. And I respected that. That was when I was like, okay, what are they going to do with his character? So then you have that every time him and his brother are in the same arena, we know where that's going. We know the discussion that's being had. We know the emotion, the energy that's there. Then it comes to the Arya situation. Now, the Arya situation with the Hound is when I was like, oh, okay, he's going to make it. Not being funny. When he started protecting and was riding with Arya, I immediately was like, oh, okay, he's going to make it. I didn't know how far he was going to make it. I didn't know to what extent. I did think that he had died on the side of the mountain that time.
Oh, yeah.
I was glad that he did. Yeah. But I was glad that he didn't, because when we were thinking he was dead, I promised my only thought was, so what do we do with his brother now?
Right, of course. Yeah, and it's it would seem that he's destined to defeat his brother, and I was pretty satisfied with that. Although, I mean, I don't know, the whole having Arya there again. I have issues with Arya this season, and I think we can talk about that. But I'll stick to the Clegane thing. I think there was something interesting about the fact that he kept trying to kill the Mountain and just wasn't dying. And at some point, he even just starts laughing as he's stabbing him, and he's like, "Die already!" And it's not until he gets almost Oberyn that he realizes that they both have to just have to be taken out. Yeah, and consumed by fire. How poetic!
That was pure poetry at the end, like that long fall into the ball of flames. I can say I didn't like that. Okay, I'll say it that way. I think he should have just tried to cut his head off from the very beginning. Like every kill attempt should have been trying to get to his neck, trying to cut his neck off in some way, cut him in the face. And it should have been him being able to defend that versus, oh, you impaled him through the belly and you cut him in the side and come on, man. He wouldn't have died by that when he was human.
Yeah, I mean, he took a dagger through the eyeball and he still was alive. So yeah, I mean, aside from maybe even not decapitation, like it's possible that he's got some sort of like weird magic infused where his body will just start like pulverizing you after his head is off.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean,
what I think, and this is why Qyburn was important to me, because we saw his fascination with the dead body or the dead when that was brought to them. And we saw how he resurrected. And we also, I don't think either of us said it, but I think both of us were aware that that was Qyburn's baby. Yeah.
What?
Because I was thinking Qyburn or Jaime. That was one of their babies. I don't think that was Jaime's baby.
It is Jaime's baby. Well, nope. I mean, like
artificial insemination. Come on.
No. But I think that there is actually really no indication, except for when Cersei says it at the end, that she actually was pregnant.
Yeah.
I mean, we just kind of have to take her word for it. She did say that she wanted her baby to live right before they got crushed by rubble that they could have walked away from.
And there were countless times where she was grabbing her belly and things of that nature.
Yeah, for sure. So there's definitely a heavy insinuation, but it's not outside of Cersei's character to fake her pregnancy in order to gain sympathy. So,
But there were times where she was clutching her belly and no one was there to see. It was just her. Yeah. It was like for the camera, so to speak.
But again, I think,
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. But no, so with the Qyburn thing, and that's why, so from the Cleganes and their descent into the fiery rubble, again, I really just felt like he should have tried to take his head a few more times. Also, how strong is the Hound's skull because
he was getting rocked like hardcore. I think he would have been dead by the second or third skull smash. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was thinking, because everybody else only took one.
Yeah. But then again, I mean, that might be an indication, or that a callback to, how you survived the last time, and how that Septon was like, oh, you're a hard person to kill.
I must say, maybe the Cleganes have a little giant in. Oh, well, that's actually possible.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe kind of like Tormund. Yeah.
Like, totally. Yeah, I might say, because Tormund, Giant's Bane, Clegane, down the line, through the years of marrying off and all that, I could see.
You're gonna be like that meme, that It's Always Sunny meme of the dude with the whiteboard and all of the Post-its and stuff. Oh, you don't know that meme? Okay. Well, yeah, there's one, but he's basically connecting all the threads to form a conspiracy, and he's trying to explain it to his friends. But
it's like Black Dynamite. Why did the chicken cross the road? That's right, so it can get dinner. What?
Wait, what?
And what get dinner? It never makes sense. And what happens when you have dinner in a pool? That's right. JFK was whoa. How did
yeah. That like weird word association. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
I'm never good at reiterating exactly what Black Dynamite says, so I'm gonna just move on.
No worries. But yeah, so I mean, like I definitely see. I was pretty satisfied with the Hound's death. I mean, it was very clear that a lot of people were gonna die this season. So I'm not necessarily. I don't know. I mean, like, it was nice that
more people should have died.
Oh yeah, I agree. But it was nice that Arya kind of saw him right before he died, I guess.
Yeah.
But again, her being there doesn't really make a whole lot of sense either.
I think her being there and well, short version. I just wanted to know what Qyburn's real mystery was. Like, what was his real talent? Was he a scientist? Was he a wizard? Did he delve in magic? Black magic? What was his thing? That's it about Qyburn. But Arya, as far as her being there, I think a lot of her journey this season was about what being a killer turned her into. And the fact that she was really low, in my opinion, all the way up until that moment. And the reason she said thank you was because she was lost.
Yeah, I wish I would have felt that a little bit.
That we didn't have time to. The shell shock and the PTSD is really what did it, but we didn't have enough time to. If we saw her come in contact with more people. I think you're being too charitable.
She just killed the most dangerous entity in all of Westeros.
Who?
And now all of the Night King.
Yes.
You can't be the stone cold killer of the Night King after and then all of a sudden be like, oh, I don't know anymore.
It's like, so right.
What is going on?
I gloss over that. Wow. Now I feel like the writers.
It just feels very like, oh, we're just going to make her be this person just for the convenience. And her killing the Night King was just, and they say it in their after episode. That's why you never watch the after episodes. They say, Jon was too predictable, so that's why we chose Arya to kill the Night King. That's literally their excuse for having Arya kill the Night King. Is Jon was too predictable. Oh, really? Maybe it's because you spent the last 7 seasons basically leading up to Jon killing the Night King. The entire show was about Jon killing the Night King, and then you just took it away from him.
I am so glad I don't watch the after show. They really said that?
Yes, that is a direct
disgusted.
Quote. Yeah.
I probably would have stopped watching it right then and there. I would have stopped halfway through the season.
It's like how bad are you at storytelling? And I know it's like there's this weird thing where people try to be edgy and they call it subversion of expectations, where it's like, we know the audience want this. Exactly. We know the audience wants this, but we're going to give them something else instead. Well, that works in principle if what you give them is equal to what you were going to give them. You can't give them something less and then expect them to feel like awesome about it. So having Arya kill the Night King after she's never even mentioned White Walkers before.
Not once.
She's
never mentioned White Walkers. His instincts and senses being the way and heightened as they were for everything else, the only thing that made it make sense for Arya to kill the Night King was her cunning sleuth as a faceless man, which still is under question.
Yes,
it's very much so under question, because there was never the insinuation that she was like ninja silent.
No.
It was only that she was cunning enough to know where to and where not to be in the moment. That sounds like a superpower to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, like she was, I don't know. It just kind of drives me a little bit crazy because I'm like, okay, well, that was a robbery of the last
1,000%.
The last 1% of a story. You tell 99% of the story, and then the last 1%, you're like, but this never all happened. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter.
I mean,
okay.
Well, okay, so let's go all the way back to the beginning with Arya. Right?
Yeah, do it.
So Arya pretty much starts out where she's just on her journey. Right? She runs into Hot Pie, and that was pretty much just it. Like, she ran into Hot Pie, found out everybody, all of her brothers and everybody was back in Winterfell. And
that was last season.
No, I know.
Already, oh yeah, okay.
No, and so she heads to Winterfell. She gets there, she finds out everything going on, and from there, it's almost like she was a protector, but they worked so hard into making her a shadow operator.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we had to be in the silence of what was going on and what she was going to do. And, oh, well, you know, I'm just over being here. And I know we're preparing for the war. So as long as you remember that we're family, John, we'll be okay. Wait, huh?
Yeah, okay. It's all about family until you send your brother or cousin to the wall and then sail away from your family.
I wasn't even going to get to the end yet, but that's exactly where the whole family thing. But no, but exactly, that is the whole family thing for me. It's like, family. So I just, with Arya, it was like, okay, Arya's here. Oh, you love Jon. He's the most coolest and lovable. And but you're not quite sure. Do you trust him? You don't trust him. Oh, but you're on Sansa's side. Like, what is going on? Yeah. Oh, then because we're still on Arya in the battle. You know, first she has to prove to Gendry that prove shit to Gendry.
Oh yeah, I don't think she needed to prove anything to Gendry, but you know,
would get her weapon, but still, like, Gendry, make the weapon, bro. That's your job.
Yeah, I don't know why he needed to see her throw a piece of dragon glass to make it faster.
Because everybody else was watching too. So.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Gendry does not know what Arya has been through the last however many years. So the last thing he remembers is just kind of a tomboyish girl. You know,
you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. But so you go from that to them having their moment. She wants to experience sex one time before the world ends, if that is what is to happen.
Can you just allude to it? I mean, I don't know.
Thank you, because you knew exactly what I was about to do here.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me, please, writers, creators, producers, whomever of Game of Thrones, was it absolutely necessary for Maisie Williams to be naked? Was it?
No, it wasn't. It was gratuitous at best.
Right. It was, oh, hey, you guys have been watching her since she was like 9.
Yeah.
Hey, here's no.
Anyway. I know. Yeah, it's actually, I'm surprised. I mean, she consented. Obviously, she consented, but she had just turned 18. Like, they didn't waste any time. It was like, oh, you're 18 now. Do you want to do a nude scene?
And
like,
right. And that's what I was gonna say. It's almost a question of, was she coerced into it?
I think I think so.
And it's like, it sucks to even have to consider these things, because that shouldn't even be a thing. But just the way that went down, in my opinion, as someone who's watching the show, and I'm like, okay, we've been watching this show since, I mean, it started and then it's here, and why?
Yeah, I honestly, it was unnecessary. There's no other sex in this season too, right?
And that's exactly what I was about to say. Let me be very clear.
Oh, except for Brienne and Jaime.
Oh yeah, there's a little shoulder and butt action there.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Like, not being funny, of the Brienne actress, we didn't even see Sybil. That's a fully grown woman.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, that's where for me it's like, wait, was it necessary? Is there, I don't care if it was even offered, if it was suggested, if it was asked, is there a way we could have went around that, seeing as how it wasn't necessary?
Absolutely.
Oh, you and I 1000% agree. I'm saying for the people who created it, like,
well, I think
that has to be a discussion.
Yeah, and I'm not to get into the sort of meta conversation about this, but I think they were trying to push some sort of like, point. I don't know what their point was, but it's like, it just feels like contrived. There was no need if you wanted to allude to Gendry and Arya having sex, just do it the old way that everybody used to do. Have them kiss and then fade to black.
Away. Right.
Exactly. And then like that's totally fine. But the nude scene wasn't necessary. Well, it was awkward too.
It was very, and I think maybe that's the first thing. It was awkward. And it was awkward again because it was unnecessary. It was just as awkward as the Sansa and Ramsay scene.
Yeah.
It was just as awkward as Cersei having to walk through the streets,
which she got a body double for.
Oh, that
wasn't even Lena Headey. Yeah, you
feel me here?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. It's yeah.
And I didn't even know that. That's news I'm receiving right now because you've done the homework on that and I hadn't. So
yeah,
I just think about it that way, and if nothing else, I just hope it was her idea. Or at least done with her consent and not consent by force.
Right. Hopefully she wasn't coerced into that situation.
Right. Yeah. And being clear, the main concern is the fact that she was a minor that had come of age while under contract and on that set. Yeah. That is where it's kind of like,
it's a little weird.
If this was her next project after this, as an adult, it's like, okay, I probably still didn't want to see it as a consumer, but it's much less to say about it.
Yeah. Well, and how do you think that Gendry actor felt? I mean,
that is a great question.
He worked with that girl when she was, 12.
That is a great wow. Yeah. Not even, and that's the thing. We're sitting here talking about it. We're not even thinking about all the hundreds of people that were on set and all the other things that go into that. Now, not saying all of them seen her because we don't know. We weren't there. Of course, this is only speculation. But the speculation comes from a place of discomfort.
Yeah, it just wasn't necessary. Honestly, I mean, like you could have had no sex in this season, and I would have been fine.
1000%.
Like I'm always okay with not having sex scenes. Like they always feel a little bit weird to me. So it's like, yeah, I mean, like, look, there was a lot of sex scenes in Game of Thrones early, and that was to hook people in. Right. And once people were hooked in, they didn't have to have sex scenes as much. I'm not complaining. But don't throw in Arya. Don't throw in the Sansa thing. Like the Sansa thing, that's part of the story, so I get it. Now they didn't have to let that scene linger so long. I don't think, but they did that for the shock value, I think. So
right. Well, I mean, and if we're being honest as well, this is HBO. You're gonna take advantage that you're on HBO. Yeah, everybody else does. Why wouldn't you? There's every writer known to man knows HBO is the only place you can drop about 15 F-bombs and nobody's saying anything.
Nah.
It's you can't even do that on the right. You can't even do that on the silver screen unless you're Sam Jackson.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I totally understand pushing the envelope.
What I did enjoy about Arya's I did kind of like the library scene a little bit, only because the battle itself was so chaotic that it was nice to have that bit of a reprieve. But boy, oh boy, did you have to turn the brightness up on your TV when you watched that episode?
Yes. I started flicking through my picture modes like, okay, no.
Yeah.
Okay, no. There we go.
Dude, even on the best settings. And we have, our TV's no slouch. It's not like we have an old TV. We have a decent TV. And we have all this different, high HDs and all that shit. Yeah. Nothing worked. I literally the first 10 or 15 minutes of the episode, I could not see at all.
Wow. See, I don't know if I'm 1080, 720, 4K. I don't know. I'm not one of those people who are like always going through my settings like, oh, there it goes. That's the one I need.
Right.
I know I have really good resolution and I don't complain and no one else complains when they come to watch it. But I had to flick through the picture settings. Now, I didn't have to change the brightness or anything, but I did have to flick through the picture settings. And I realized you have the dynamic and the movie, and those are your brightest ones. No. Yeah, those are your brightest ones. Then you have your game setting, which almost looks like it kind of looks like RFD. See, I'm not
What's
that.
RFD?
When you go to the gaming channel on your newer TVs.
Oh, okay.
This looks like old school. Looks like your camera right now.
Yeah. Right.
Not exactly, but it's just to give it that real look.
Yeah.
So
yes. Gotcha.
I am with you. I had to struggle to see it, but once I found the right space, I rewound it, and I was able, or the right temperature, I should call it, right. I was able to rewind it and see everything, and that is where I came to the conclusion that she had she's very sleuth of foot. She's light-footed. She moves like a ninja, but that was never a thing that was said that the men without faces do.
Yeah. So, I just kind of thought about it too. So they don't really make it that obvious. So when I think about it, I think they explain it away with the chasing cats and Braavosi water dancer.
Oh, you're right. Yep. You're right.
And so I think that's probably like, oh, well, she used to do Braavosi water dancing and you haven't seen her do that in 4 seasons, but remember, she's good at that, so it's like, okay, I guess it makes sense that she's light on her feet. That's fine. But I mean, as far as being able to sneak past those White Walkers to get to the Night King and then jump from, I don't know, from wherever she was.
Thank you. Where was she? where that was pretty much going to be my last question. So where'd she leap from?
The mist. She's just that good. She could just
she stepped off the wing, huh?
Yes, exactly, like an anime character.
Because that was so as we're getting to that, she got through everything. Her getting caught up in the fight, getting knocked down, that was Beric saving her, Beric being killed, her and the Hound running off. Then you get to her and the Night King.
Yeah.
And this is me. So the Night King's walking up. He sees Bran the Broken. We'll get to all of that.
He's walking up one step every minute.
Right, like he's walking up like glow, like he is champion mode, getting his swagger on, throwing his one finger in the air, flexing for the ladies. He's getting his in, like he is licking his boots.
Like there isn't a battle going on around him.
Right. Yeah. And he gets close to Bran and he just reaches his hand out ever so slowly, like, you gonna do anything? You gonna do any? What's that? I got you. And this was me. So you're quick enough to hear this silent thing or person that crept up on you, catch it by the throat. You were able to stop, look, reach, see exactly the target and hit your target, which is her throat.
Yeah.
She drops the knife and only thing moves towards it is your eyes, which you barely look at it. She catches it with the offhand and you have a whole nother hand over here.
Yeah. That's just, that's his off. That's only for hurling javelins.
Yeah, I guess so. So. Now, don't get me misunderstood. Even if he had a block, she still would have cut him with the Valerian steel. He still would have died.
Right.
I would have been more for that, though, than the pure gut shot.
Yeah, which isn't even the right spot for him to be stabbed. He needed to be stabbed in the heart.
In the heart, right? That's what I was thinking.
He got stabbed in the gut and whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Because that's where the magical stone was put that birthed him.
Right.
It's like, come on, man.
And what do you think about it? Well, I guess we can. Yeah,
we can move on. That's Arya. That's pretty much it for Arya.
Yeah. Well, she also decides that after.
Oh, you're right. There is more with Arya.
There's a lot more. They basically like made this whole season Arya. I'm like, that's pretty much who the main character of this season.
Yeah.
Big time.
So let's think before we get to the end of the ending of the Night King. What else happens before that? So Jon and Daenerys, they had returned to Winterfell together. Sansa and Daenerys. I've always liked Sansa's character. From the moment she did not like Daenerys, you started to see all the things about Daenerys you shouldn't like.
Oh yeah.
And it was very interesting because it was like, hold on, lady, I've worked my entire life to be the the good golden girl who understands things but doesn't step on anybody's toes. You're not about to come over here just killing people and telling my people what to do.
Yeah, of course.
Like that's just not how things grow. I didn't like how they really made it like just this woman spat.
Of course.
It was a lot more principle behind their issue. Yeah.
For sure it was.
Than Jon. And like, why did Jon even keep coming up? Jon's not even a thing in this.
Jon's not even a fucking character in this season, man.
He did die 2 seasons ago.
You could replace him with a bag of rocks and it would have been fine. Honestly, I was
gonna say Jon, a bag of onions.
There's no character that makes me more angry than Jon in season 8. I can't even. But yeah, no, I get what you mean. Like, it's so crazy. So, but she's so to continue. I guess we can just continue with Arya to get her out of the way. Okay, I guess we can do we can probably do like the main characters up until that council meeting, and then we can talk about the end portion. You know what I mean? Maybe that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah,
because it seems like the council meeting is a good place to like talk about the endings of every character after that meeting. Yeah.
Wait. The final council meeting or the one after the Night King?
Well, no, the final one where they choose the king.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do it that way. So, with Arya, so where did we leave off with Arya? Arya kills the Night King.
Yep.
And first off, that wasn't celebrated enough. Well, it was celebrated enough, but it wasn't celebrated enough as far as the storyline, in my opinion. For Arya's end. Especially for Arya. You just killed the big bad of the entire world.
Exactly. You could have had Jon kill the Night King and then let him die. I thought that for all I care. Honestly.
I thought Jon and the Night King were going to die together. I really thought that was the plot.
That would have been perfect.
That was how this was going down.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. I would have been totally fine with that.
Jon and the Night King dying together would have made the whole him being Aegon Targaryen thing go out the window. Would have made everything a lot smoother. Then you still would have gotten the fight with Sansa and Daenerys. That still would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And Cersei really would have been out of the picture because you ain't fighting the North and you weren't fighting Daenerys.
Yeah.
So it's like the fight was never against Cersei. That's just how I seen it.
No, I kind of agree with that. I mean, Jon was awful.
No, terrible.
Yeah.
She's my queen.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
I never have. God.
Weenie boy.
Yeah, dude. What happened to the Jon Snow that clawed himself out of a mountain of humans?
That was Jon Snow.
That was after he got killed.
Aegon.
I guess Aegon. That's true. Aegon is just awful. It's just
Weenie boy.
Yeah, totally.
It was very sad though for me. For me, it was sad to see how they really had Jon tucking hide for most of the season.
The entire season, dude.
Like
the entire season.
Even when he blanked out in the middle of the siege, and he kind of like just stares off into the distance, and then all of a sudden somebody's charging at him.
Yeah. Totally.
Like, bro, no, like you can't be that badass, and that's all you're giving him.
I know it's so crazy, man. The only thing, well, we can get back to Jon. We'll get to Jon, but we have to get to Arya. We have to get to Arya at King's Landing because that's basically after the Night King thing. She decides that she needs to go to King's Landing to kill Cersei. She
runs across the Hound heading to King's Landing. I'm going to King's Landing and I don't plan on coming back. They both basically say.
Yes.
I never understood why she was playing hers like a suicide mission. I understood why he was playing his like a suicide mission. It was.
I didn't understand that because literally one season before she had the same decision to make, and she decided to go to Winterfell when she found out that Sansa and Jon were around.
Right.
And it seemed to me that she was saying, "Hey, I'm going to hang up my hat because now I have my family."
Oh no, I never got that.
she said it herself that she was going back home to Winterfell to be with her family because she didn't realize that they were still alive. The whole reason that she had a kill list was because she thought her family was dead. Then she realized that her family was alive, so she went to Winterfell. Remember when she met Hot Pie in season 7, and she's like, tells her that Jon's alive and your family's alive. Right. That's when she decides that she's not going to go kill Cersei. So it's
and that's why I brought that up, because it was like she became a different person when she went back to Winterfell.
Yeah, which is strange because she went to Winterfell to be Arya Stark, but then by the time she got there, she wasn't Arya Stark.
She was definitely not Arya Stark. Exactly. Yeah. That's why I started way back then when we started her story, because it's like that's when I feel like the change happened, and it wasn't until that discussion she was having with the Hound when he kind of snapped her out of it. Like, girl, wake up.
Yeah,
and that's really what it was. It was like, wake up.
Like the sky is falling. Maybe you should get out of here. Literally. So exactly, that's what I feel, how I feel that played out. And so when we get all the way to her, again, going through the whole back and forth and following the Hound, and they're just both stone faced getting through the crowd to get down to the castle. After he tells her to leave and she turns and she leaves, like, first off, to me, she left too easy. Because if she had to just stayed for an extra 2 minutes, guess who was walking by? Right there. Literally. And the mountain was being held up, so she could have just
mountain was being held
Cersei
up
right there.
Right. There were no other knights. There was no Qyburn. It was a wrap.
Yep.
So that part I was a little confused by. But then you have her go. And honestly, what I really would have liked to see was to her and Cersei get into it. You find out, Cersei can fight a little bit. That would have been kind of cool.
Out of nowhere.
I'm not saying she would have fought to the point at which she would have saved her own life.
No,
but just a little bit of like, you try to come at her and she's like, oh, she ducked. Oh, she got a block in here. Oh, that was a dagger. Okay, no, that was a dagger. That one's over.
Cersei like just that little fight fighting for her.
Yeah, 1000%. Same as Daenerys. Mm-hmm. And so what I saw happen there was, I think that was when Arya had tapped out. And then as she exits the castle, she really sees what's happening. She sees Daenerys flying over and the destruction.
Yeah.
And that's where I kind of feel like, there was a bit of PTSD. But what I don't get, because I realized I mixed those up a little, right? Or the timeline. I mixed the timeline up a little. What I don't understand is, so what happened after that?
Then she was back to being Stone Cold Arya again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where she's like, I'm sorry, Jon, that we have to let you. We'll get to that. The logical inconsistencies. Okay. But yeah, she basically just becomes Terminator Arya again. And she's like, she finds Jon after the siege. And my favorite line of the whole season is she's like, be careful with her. I can see a killer. Or I know a killer when I see one. I'm like, did you not just experience her killing millions of people? Like, everybody knows she's a killer.
I'm really like, hello?
Yeah, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out she's a killer.
It clearly takes an Arya scientist.
Apparently, yeah. Yeah.
So, what? From there with Arya, what is the end game with Arya's character? Like, okay, she's traveling west, but that was a little confusing. Like, I'm going west. What's west of Westeros? That's where I'm headed.
If you guys don't know, if nobody's ever sailed, you mean to tell me Euron's never sailed west of Westeros?
The 14 seas, right?
Yeah. So what? She's just going to the edge of the map to fall off of it, or either that, or she's literally going to be in Essos. It's like, if they're on a globe, if she goes west, she's going to end up in the east.
Well, what also confused me was, if there's nothing west of Westeros, why do you have maps?
Right. Why don't you just have Westeros and that's it? Like, I don't know.
It was kind of confusing. It was quite confusing.
It's just a cliche because they probably wanted to do like an Arya spinoff where like she sails the 7 seas or something like that,
Noah's Ark?
Yeah, or Captain Jack Arya, and the Curse of the Black Pearl or whatever.
Curse of the Dragon Glass.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I guess we can move on from Arya because we can talk about her ending after we get to the choosing of the king.
Right. Well, so let's just go back to before the Night King killing, right, or the death of the Night King.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at my notes and I see a couple of other things. I think if we did it that way, which is kind of still the same way, just not so person specific, there would be a little more person specific. After what I was called, what they call that, the Long Night, the Great War.
Yeah, the Long Night.
The Long Night. I called it the Great War in my notes, and okay, the Long Night. And the reason I was thinking about it doing it that way, right? Just now, I just thought about that. Was I'm looking at my notes, and there were just little things about the beginning of the fight and the way that transpired.
Yeah,
it wasn't a lot of the main characters in it.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that for sure. You know, like the Dothraki charging into nothingness stupidly.
Just why?
Why? He literally sent them to their death. And god damn it, why did Jon let Ghost be in the vanguard? Why was Ghost in the vanguard with the Dothraki? That made no sense. I hated that.
Right.
That.
I don't think Jon has as much control over Ghost as they were trying to make it seem in those few scenes.
Baloney.
No, I agree. He should have more control over Ghost. I'm saying I think they were trying to make it seem like there was a bit of a disconnection there.
How much of a better asset would a Ghost been in the crypt?
Way much. Like, how much of a better asset would Ghost have been if he had grown to full size like Nymeria?
Or been around Bran? You know? Like...
Smell the White Walkers coming.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Maybe take out a White Walker. Who knows?
Or 12, you know.
Or 12. Yeah.
So, Ghost, that didn't make sense either. But yeah, so first you start with them charging into nothingness. And that just had me, I was really staring at my TV like,
why would you ever see the first move like that?
Definitely a bad chess move.
Like, why weren't the dragons literally lighting the entire field on fire? That's what they should have done. The space between the two armies, they should have just lit the whole thing on fire.
Right. And to add, here's something else that I was questioning. So how'd those Dothraki and Jorah make it back?
I don't know. Plot? Because a whole bunch of Dothraki are in King's Landing too, and I don't understand that because I think we saw almost all of them eradicated.
That's what I thought. Yeah. That's what I thought. And there were and that's why I wanted to bring that up. Not just that, but there were a couple of things that happened in the war. Then you get to what happened after that when you're like, wait, how do you still have how are there so many unsullied after that?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. She shouldn't have the army that she had.
There shouldn't even be so many Northmen.
No, definitely
easily
not.
All of their forces should have been cut in half, minimum.
Yeah, easily. For sure.
But I guess because we killed the Night King so early into it, people survived. Knock it off.
Or Daenerys just has her spawn, like her army spawns.
Yeah,
they just respawn at base.
So and that's the other thing is Daenerys has so much around her that it's like I think that the creators at this point were just like, oh, they won't notice. Yeah, we did. We definitely did.
Yeah. Right.
Beginning of the war. So right before the war starts, you have Jorah takes Sam to meet takes Daenerys to meet Sam.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Why would thank you. Why would this is the man who saved my life. Yeah, I killed his dad and brother.
Right.
Hey. They wouldn't fall into they wouldn't listen to me.
Sorry.
Like, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, another one of those signs. Early signs.
But not early enough. Those were too rushed, man.
True. Yeah,
honestly.
I'll get to the signs with Daenerys. Let's just say So you have that. You have the again, and that to me was the beginning of the war too. And then you have the whole moment of Jon finding out who he is right before. Finding out and telling Daenerys who he is right before the White Walkers get there.
Yeah. And then and Jon doesn't say, I don't want the throne. I
don't want the. Yeah, he holds his tongue at that moment.
He holds his tongue. Exactly.
It's like, nah, bro. You trying to incite violence. You chose violence today.
You could have just cleared everything up with a sentence. Hey, by the way, I'm Aegon Targaryen. I don't want the throne. Don't worry. I'm no threat.
But I also don't want to marry you because you're my aunt.
Right. But that was a problem.
I think either way, it was a problem. You either going to marry me or no, and that's going to be a problem, or you're not Aegon Targaryen. Oh, you are? Well, that's a problem. And this was me. Word. So you want me to just not be who I am now so you can get some peenie? So you can get broken off regularly? You want me to be somebody else, you weirdo?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like, why?
And why? It's so crazy how like sycophantic both of them are for each other. Like Daenerys is like all about Jon, and Jon's all about Daenerys, but that there's like that relationship does not feel real to me.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense at all.
It doesn't make sense.
Right.
And the main reason to me it doesn't make sense is this. All right, cool. I understand you guys started getting hot and bothered for each other. I get that. You know that's your nephew now. You know that's your auntie. Why do you keep telling each other you love each other and fighting to be together? And what is going on here? You have to be. But see, I think that was our insight. I think that was the first start of like true look into how demented and messed up in the head Dany is.
Yeah.
I think that was what the whole point of that was like, no, see, look, she's demented. She's crazy.
Oh yeah, she's crazy. No, I know. I agree, but it's also just like that a little bit too fast of a heel turn. She makes a heel turn within 2 episodes.
True.
No, 1 episode.
No, 1.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's
one
just
episode.
The first episode is the only episode she's not looking like she's trying to kill everybody.
Well, I mean, but even still, like she's still on technically the good team as of episode 3 when she's helping kill the Night King. Then episode 4 is when she kind of has like a weird turn, and then episode 5 is the bells, and she goes crazy.
Well, and it was jealousy.
Yeah,
it was all jealousy.
Sort of. Yeah. Yes, it was. That's what they make us believe. But it's also like, okay. And this is one of the issues, right? It's like, because there's probably a long story as to why Daenerys goes crazy. And we just never.
I'm sure there is.
We never get to hear it because
I think, so you know the whole saying, the story of every time a Targaryen is born, a coin is flipped. Do you remember the first time that story was told earlier in the series? The coin is
yeah. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm like, the coin is flipped because they are children of incest.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, she's a child of incest. That's why. That's what they were talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I get it. I understand why Daenerys, like I actually, when I first started watching the season, my position, or the series itself, my position was Daenerys was the villain from the get-go. Okay. Like I've always thought that. It's just I don't like the way I don't like the way that they got there, to be honest, because like I understand like her, crucifying all of those people in Astapor and Meereen, and her burning people and her basically ruling with an iron fist about everything. Like that definitely tells you that she's not necessarily a ruler, she's a conqueror. I mean, even Daario says it. You're not a ruler, you're not a queen, you're a conqueror. Right. So like it makes sense that she would make this sort of like terrible decision, but the pace in which it happens is astounding.
Oh yeah.
It's within 1 episode, she is the big villain of the entire series. Yeah.
Well, and I think she starts to think that everybody in her small table, small council is really against her in a sense. It's aside from the people she brought with her.
Right. Yeah.
Because she definitely doesn't trust Tyrion at a point. You can see in her face she's even questioning Jorah when he stands on Tyrion's side. And it was like she just had trust issues. And let's be fair, she was sold by her brother.
Yeah. I mean, she had an awful time of it herself, but then as soon as she got any semblance of power, she just became the oppressor.
She became everything that she said she disliked.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so everything before the war with Daenerys, that's really like you were saying, it was really calm and steady until Jon told her what was going on, who he is.
Yeah, basically. And then until Tormund, toasted to somebody, or she saw Jon at the party having fun with his buddies, and then she was like, "Oh God,
jealousy."
Yeah, but it's just so lame. It's such a lame excuse. I'm mad because the king in the north is celebrating with his friends. Yeah.
I mean, hey, listen, she probably found out that Jaime had knighted Brienne and was like, oh, I didn't know he had that kind of power. And then she sees the boys all hanging and Sansa's chilling. Actually, Sansa wasn't even there. She had got irritated and left already.
Yeah. Yeah. She was trying to hook up prostitutes with people.
She was. I don't know.
Trying to be a little finger on that one, which is weird.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I was like, I don't know if it was so clear to her who she had become or what she had become.
That was a little finger thing. For sure.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're a manipulator.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that she was getting irritated and huffy and puffy when she couldn't manipulate, or she saw someone else manipulating. Like,
Daenerys manipulating Jon.
Right.
That was a threat. That was a threat to her.
Yep. And as soon as she gave Gendry the house of, I forgot what.
Yes. Baratheon.
But Storm's End?
Storm End, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, you saw Sansa kind of like, oh, this bitch is playing the game. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, mm-hmm. And this is what I liked about that. Sansa's character has been being groomed to be queen and so-called ruler from day one.
Mm.
So for her to lose it and then gain it back this way, or come up to it and then have someone come from out of nowhere and it's like, oh, you can't do that anymore. Who are you?
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly why she said the North wouldn't bend, or bend the knee. But we'll get there with Sansa because that's a little bit more down the road than the war. So as we're getting up to the war, though, like we said, Jaime baited Brienne. Excuse me, Jaime knighted Brienne. You had you had Bronn show up and talk to Tyrion and Jaime. And let them know, hey, Cersei paid me to kill you guys. So what you got? Like, you guys know, where I lie with this. So what's up? What you got? And what did Tyrion say? You can have Highgarden. And what did he get? Didn't he get Highgarden? He got Highgarden.
Yes, he got Highgarden in the end. I don't know, man. He got
Highgarden.
Yes, he did. He did.
So I'm just trying to think of all the other things that happened, because this is all the buildup, and a lot of these things just couldn't happen or didn't happen. Then you have Grey Worm or Togo Noro, and I never know if I say that right, but anyway, told Missandei he would take her back home to the Isle of Knarth.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a lot of things that were built up. Theon going to save Yara.
Yeah, that happened within 10 seconds.
Right.
And then it was gone.
A whole new Theon all over again. And then going back to being the same old Theon. It was like, wait, what? then you're gonna protect Bran? What?
Go figure, right? Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
I don't know.
Help me understand. And I'm not saying that because he was euthanized, that takes away his testosterone or anything, but from the moment he was euthanized all the way until that night, he was lacking testosterone. What you want from me?
Yeah, well, I mean, Theon, that was kind of brutal. Shout outs to Theon and Jorah and little Lyanna Mormont.
Little Lyanna. Yeah, no, okay, so she's in my notes as well. I mean, she's actually one of the main reasons I wanted to go back. Is first off, I almost cried when that dead giant walked in and smacked little Lyanna Mormont. I was like, the strongest woman alive. Oh, then she was still alive, and I was like, she really is the strongest woman alive.
Yeah.
And then so she just stands up, and the giant just grabs her and starts squeezing, and she's like, eyeball.
Yeah.
Coolest
take
thing.
Down a giant.
Hey, listen, if you're gonna take me, I'm taking you with me.
Right. Yeah. Might as well. Yeah.
And I was so glad that she at least got her the biggest kill in. Because I wanted to see her make it.
Oh, for certain. Yeah.
I wanted to see her make it. And even the little girl in the I actually don't remember. I think this was right before the Great War, or the Long Night, excuse me. Right before the Long Night, you have the people in the line and they're getting the food. And this may have actually been the end of season 7, but you have the little girl who comes up like, my brothers and father is in the war. Yeah. They're all going off to fight and I want to fight too. And I was like, I had like just tears rolling out my eyes. It's like, man, somebody get this little girl a sword.
Right. Or a safer world. Jesus. Why are all these children have to world. Why do they all have to fight?
Right, man. I'm just saying, don't turn her down and send her to the kitchen and to the kennel.
I feel like a child like that is deadlier as a white than as a human. So you might as well just keep them in the catacombs.
I get you.
Yeah. You're like, why would you kill them? Yeah, of course. They'll just be a part of the army. Yeah. So, is there anything else about the Long Night that you wanted to mention?
Let's think. The Long Night, eh? The Long Night after Winterfell prepares for war. Oh, so where the heck did Melisandre come from?
Oh, just the nothingness. Yeah.
Just from dust we came and back to dust we return.
Yeah. Literally. Like only 5 episodes or 4 episodes ago, she said she was going to Volantis, which is on the other side of the world.
Right.
And she got back in time.
Right. She got right back in time. And without words, she tells them to raise. She has so first I was confused. Like, she had Jorah tell them raise them swords, put all their swords aflame. I thought that was a really cool moment. Mm-hmm. However, at first I didn't understand like why only them, and then I was like, oh, because everybody else has Dragonglass or Valyrian steel.
Yeah, which then I'm like, why wouldn't the Dothraki have Dragonglass or Valyrian steel? Why would you have a whole cavalry of people that aren't going to have the tools to kill these things?
I was confused as well, but she lit their scythes. So those are like handheld scythes, right?
Yeah, like sickles.
Lit them aflame, and as we mentioned a minute ago, they journeyed into the abyss and returned with maybe half of their forces and cold hard steel.
10% of their forces at most.
Okay, 10%.
I mean, like, we saw very few come back after.
Yeah, and Jorah, which again, still don't understand. How'd you make it, buddy?
And why couldn't the dragons at least given them a little light so they didn't have to charge into the darkness? Well, like, wouldn't it have been good to see the army of the dead?
Well, I mean, they had swords of flame, so that's like a flashlight. That didn't work.
But they're 2 dragons. Why aren't the dragons doing more? They could have killed all of them.
I think they chose the wrong times to have the dragons be really docile, and that's how we lost 1 early, excuse me. But I also didn't like. I understand how we lost the first dragon. I do. That makes sense to me because the Night King is this ancient entity. Mm-hmm. The dragons were way too vulnerable in this season for me.
Oh yeah, well they had to be.
Right, it was the only way to even play.
The plot demanded it.
Right, yeah. Even though I'm pretty sure that took about another decade or so to actually happen in the books. Whenever that.
Oh, you want to hear their justification for why Viserion was shot?
Oh yeah, please do.
Daenerys kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet.
Clearly, wait, that's the reasoning?
That was the creators. That's what the creators said. Oh, she kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet, so she didn't realize that they would be right there. Yeah.
That's not what scouts are for.
No, right, exactly. Hey, maybe don't go around a blind corner with your dragon when you're right outside of the Red Keep.
Maybe they're dragons and they're flying high above the mountains and things. They should have seen the boats before you.
Fair. Yeah, maybe.
Because that's the other thing I was curious to wonder. I was wondering why does it seem as if the dragons don't have heightened instincts unless she's riding it?
Yeah, or any sort of sense. I mean, geez.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, it's like every dragon when the dragons got taken out, it was always when she wasn't on one of their backs, and they just let the arrow. Oh, I got hit. Oh, I got hit again.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dead.
Get like 360 no scoped by Euron Greyjoy.
Right. Like, come on, man. What are we playing? Call a dragon here?
He literally threaded the needle. Like he shot it in the neck. The second shot.
The third one. That was the third.
No, it was a third shot. I don't.
Yeah, it was the second one. It was a shoulder shot, then an abdomen shot, and then the neck shot.
Okay.
Yeah. I rewinded a few times. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So obviously they had to take out one more dragon, which sucks because that was Jon's dragon, right?
Yes, Viserion would have been Jon's dragon. Yeah. So from there, after the Jorah comes back, and then the Horde advances on them. We seen the Horde come in. How is it that the Night King is able to use a blizzard as a weapon?
Convenience to keep the dragons from doing anything, basically.
Thank you.
This entire the entire plot line seems to be, let's make sure that Daenerys is as weak as possible for the final moment where she decides to go apeshit.
Oh,
it's like they wanted to make sure that everybody knew that like Daenerys was going to go crazy, and it's just like, all right, dude. Well, you spent the last 5 or 6 seasons telling me that she was the savior of Essos, and that she was the breaker of chains, and that she was, the just ruler and the rightful heir to the throne. And now she's this crazy, woman that can't be trusted anymore because she found out that she has a relative.
Right. And in the books at this point, what is she, like 16? So this is really just a teenage meltdown.
Oh yeah. But I mean, this isn't even finished in the books yet, so we don't even. That's why I'm saying like there's a lot more.
Would even come. Okay.
Yeah, and we don't even know what the circumstances for which this would come. Like, so we don't know that Daenerys burns King's Landing because Missandei gets killed. I mean, because that's really the only reason that she burns down King's Landing.
And that doesn't even really make sense because the bells were wrong.
Yeah, and the bells were the thing that made her go crazy.
That's what made her lose it. Yeah. It's like, oh, you're gonna surrender? Yeah, we're gonna surrender.
All right, now I'm gonna kill you all because
now I know you won't fight back.
I guess, but she had already killed all the. She had already taken out all the scorpions. She had won. Like everybody knew that she had won.
So, and that's what I mean when I say how convenient it was for all of a sudden, Drogon after. I always forget the first dragon's name. That one's taken out. Viserion's taken out by the Iron Fleet, and now Drogon is just sleuth and moves so fast across the water and too fast, too low for you to hit me. You guys can't aim at me or nothing. Oh, not only did I take out the entire Iron Fleet in 10 seconds. Oh, now I'm gonna go take out the entire castle wall in another 10 seconds.
And the Golden Company.
Oh, and the Golden Company. I forgot about that. and let me burst through the wall of King's Landing.
Right. How did that happen, by the way? Was it like, because that was like an exterior wall and it was burning it from the interior. Okay, so was it flying into the wall and then burning it?
I'm thinking she flew from the water, which is on the backside of the castle, over the castle and in. My question would be, why weren't there scorpions on that side?
Yeah, of course. Why weren't there scorpions everywhere? Right. At that point, honestly, this happened like, Cersei should have just killed the dragon when they killed Missandei.
Makes sense to me.
Why wouldn't you do that? Like, why would you allow the dragon was sitting there with them? Just shoot the scorpions at the dragon, kill it. I mean, you would have won right there. Game over.
Yeah. Well, now I think with the amount of soldiers that the plot line gave Daenerys back, she still would have overrun the city, but not with a dragon.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have been burned to death. That's for sure.
Before we get too deep into that craziness.
Yeah.
So, after the long night, again, I didn't too much care for the fight scenes in the long night with the Night King and Jon and any of that. But a lot of the fighting on the ground and all of that was really cool.
I can make heads or tails of most of it, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a little choppy. It was a little
choppy and dark.
Theon's moment, I thought Theon had a great moment for him and Bran to have a touching. You've always been a Stark. You're home. Like everything you did brought you home.
So do not mention his name. I swear. I hate that character more than anything in the world. We were just watching this, like because we were trying to make sure that we were refreshed on it too. So I was just watching. I hate Bran so much. But yeah, keep going.
Hey, there's a little more to get to him. But and now I totally get what you were saying. Like it doesn't make sense. It's like what?
Yeah.
But
who took your personality away?
Who took your personality and why this? But before we get there,
right.
So I decided anyway. Theon. So I appreciated though he and Theon's moment that Theon was able to hear from Sansa, to hear from Arya, to hear from Jon, to hear from Bran. Hey, we get it. You all right. Yeah. Like he was able to die with a clear conscience. That was probably one of the one of those full circle moments that I was talking about. One of those again, where it was like, all right, cool. Theon got some reprieve.
Right.
Like I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that. I expected Theon to die with all of that on his heart, and it was just a wrap.
I told you. Theon's got a good story arc for sure.
You did.
It's very satisfying. Yeah. I mean, and that's how you finish that's how you finish a character. You know?
Right.
Like
now, yes. Yes. Creators of Game of Thrones, writers of Game of Thrones. Theon's character is how you round things out.
Yes. That's what we call catharsis. It's so important for a story. Catharsis is the most important part of a story. You can't take it away just because you want to be edgy.
No, that doesn't happen no way.
Yeah, exactly.
So Theon definitely. I enjoyed the way he ended. I'll say it that way. I enjoyed the way he ended. Mm-hmm. Sir Beric and Jorah. I enjoyed the way they ended. Sir Beric, his whole understanding was I've served my purpose. And
his purpose was to save Arya Stark, apparently.
Right. Which he realized that's what he realized. That was his purpose, to save Arya. And I thought it was just a testament to his strength and will and why he was brought back 6 and 7 times. The way he was really just standing there holding up on the door. They killed that man at least 4 times over before he finally dropped.
Oh yeah, they stabbed him like 50 times.
Easily.
Easily. Yeah. I didn't really appreciate how Arya was such a bitch to him. Sorry for my language. That's inappropriate. She was very cold to him, and she was cold to the Mountain too. And the Hound. And I just felt like, okay, so I know she's cool. I know you're awesome. I know you're an assassin, but like, can you just try to be a human here? Like when they're sitting at the top of the castle, and like she's just dogging on both of them, and it's like, all right, dude, like you're very cool. All right,
and I think that was still playing into that her being lost in that moment.
I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like she got to Winterfell, and she was just a different person. Like it wasn't that she was a different person in the regards of. She was more of a killer. She was, she had become Bran, so to speak, but except with legs.
Seriously. Yeah. Bran is exactly just personality-less. I'm just kill bot here.
Remember what I said.
Only thing. Yeah.
Right. And remember what I said about Bran from the beginning when we first were talking about his demeanor and all of that. That's a Stark's demeanor. That's a Stark's demeanor. That's from what I've seen in the show and the way all of the characters, Sansa, Arya, Bran, Riddoch never talked.
I don't know. Can you call that a character trait or just bad acting? You know what I mean?
I just named 5 bad actors then.
I mean, Sean Bean is good at playing a stoic character, but I don't know. I can't necessarily claim that Kit Harington's a very good actor. I mean, Maisie Williams is okay. But I mean, Isaac Hammond said right. The kid that plays Bran is the worst actor I've ever seen.
We talked about that already. Yeah. No need to elaborate. Absolutely the worst actor in this entire show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And that's not really a shot at him. That is just our critique of this work. But I understand. And to be clear, Kit Harington is Sansa?
No, Kit Harington's Jon.
Jon. Okay. Yeah. See, some of the names I'm not aware of. So I think Jon's a better actor than the Sansa character. I forget her name.
Agree. Sophie Turner.
Sophie Turner.
She's not very good either.
But I will say this, and again, we are simply critiquing Game of Thrones. I will say I understand the range that both of those characters have. The Jon and Sansa. I think both of them are probably more like stage actors.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's just something that translated a little bit to me. And hey, listen, everybody has a background. We're not professional actors. We're just sitting here critiquing it. But I will honestly say that if we're talking about the way the acting, like if the acting made me want to go and watch anything else, the Sansa character in the last season, it kind of made me want to go watch Dark Phoenix. Just a little bit.
Not me.
I understand. But for me, it did make me a little bit like, okay, I probably could enjoy that movie. Like, I don't think she has the best, like she was conveyed the best in certain aspects of this, but I can see it working in a different arena, in a different environment. And that's not to, that's just my critique based on this. Like, again, we sat through 8 seasons.
We did.
We sat through 8 seasons. There's nothing else to even add to that. Like, so it can't be the worst in the world, right? But so back to the storyline. The next part we get at, I was talking about people in their deaths. So Beric, Theon, and then Jorah. Jorah died the way he was supposed to. Jorah died the way he would have wanted to, as the Jorah character would have wanted to.
He could have died 4 seasons ago. I would have been.
He could have died 4 seasons ago, but he would have died the exact same way fighting for his
of course, yeah. He could have died the same way 4 seasons ago, and it would have been fine. Yeah, for sure.
So I think that, and I think the only difference that changed between then and now is what Daenerys' reaction would have been wholeheartedly. I think she would have been a little too stoic and I expelled him and he was a treasonous. Yeah, I get it. But at this point, it was like, oh, he's the love of my life I can't have. And there you go. Because to me, I think here's the thing about Daenerys. I think she loved everyone that loved her. But it was more about, all right, who can I get the most out of? Who gives me the best advantage?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for sure. And when you're, like I don't necessarily fault her for that. I mean, Jorah was just a simp, so I'm not necessarily, I'm definitely not upset about him being gone.
Oh, no, not upset that he's gone. He was going to die.
I think the best Jon moment comes from what happens right after the battle, right? Which is the little funeral that they have in the morning after. And I think Jon's best moment of the entire season is when he's making that tiny speech that lasted 15 seconds, to like honor the dead. And I think that was the most expressive he was the entire season. Seriously. And that was the most leaderly he was as well.
Yes. Yeah. He was definitely running from the leadership role. Again, I understand. Yeah. She's my queen. She's your queen too.
Yeah.
I get it. I do.
Oh man.
But tuck tail much, but like just come on. So I was like, did tuck tail much, but like come on.
Oh yeah. He really he just lost all of his teeth for some reason.
So and then so after all of that, of course, everybody is excited and Gendry is named the Lord of Storm's End. Thank you.
Yeah.
He proposes to Arya. She shoots that down. Everybody saw that coming
real fast.
But so right after that is when we get the Giants, or we had just gotten the Giants' main story, and Brienne leaves. Jaime follows her and then shows up to her room later. They get busy, which I thought was like, okay, saw that come in, but unnecessary.
Yeah, still However, unnecessary.
Yeah. I understand why. Because they had to set that big heartbreak scene up for Brienne. And it
even though it was 2 days later.
Yeah, and it's like, here's the thing. You didn't have to set that big scene up because Brienne was an awesome character and she didn't deserve that.
No, she didn't. Of course not. You know
what Brienne deserved? Brienne deserved to find out why all the women loved Podrick. That's what she deserved.
Right. You know, like my whole thing was like, I would have been totally happy if Jaime sacrificed himself to save Brienne at some point, or even tried to save her at some point, you know, but like there was no need for them to have like this romantic thing and then for him to just turn, just for him to go back right afterwards, which was just like, okay, well, that again felt unnecessary. And it felt like a lot of the elements of this season especially, and a little bit of last season too, were simply just like a wish list of things that the creators wanted to film. I want to film Brienne and Jaime doing it. I want to film some Arya. I want to film a polar bear White Walker. You know, like just like all of this list of like, ooh, this would be a cool scene, and that scene would be cool, and yeah, let's give Arya a horse at the end of this crazy thing.
Was so
like, just because it looks cool. It looks cool, right? It totally looks cool.
And even like, the Dothraki would never let one of their horses just wild. They kill it first.
Of course not. No, of course not. And a horse wouldn't walk into a burning city. It would have been out of the city by now.
Didn't that happen in the movie Troy as well?
That seems something like that would have happened. Yeah.
I want to say that exact, like almost exact that same scene. The only difference is Brad Pitt and Arya.
Right. Yeah. I just think there was like a whole bunch of those scenes where it's like, oh, this would be a really sweet scene, bro. And it's like, well, but it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense for the story.
Do it again. Say it again.
Yeah, this would be a really sweet scene, bro. We should totally do this. Yeah. Let's make Arya have sex with Gendry. That'd be so cool.
Arya and Gendry, yeah. All right, we're gonna flip a coin. If it's heads, it's Arya and Gendry. If it's tails, it's Arya and the Hound. Whoa, what? Hey, don't flip the coin. Let's just go with Arya and Gendry.
Right. Like, you sure? Because we could film both.
We could do both. You know, let's just let Sansa touch his hand in a very caressing way, which confuses him and make his face look confused.
Yeah. That's far enough. That's as much as we need.
And that's another moment. I appreciated their discussion, Arya and the Hound, of her just explaining, like him apologizing, like, well, not apologizing, but saying, had you gone with me, you wouldn't have went through any of this. And her saying, had I not gone through any of this, I'd still be a little bird.
Sounds like a big cope to me. Sounds like a major cope from Sansa realizing that the Hound was her safest bet to home.
She knew that then. He told her that.
He told her that, but she didn't believe it because she thought that up until then he was the scariest person she knew.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And then she met the real scary people.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's way scarier people in the world than me.
Right.
and I don't think I've access to this entire thing. Was this film like in Scotland or something?
Oh yeah, all over Europe. Okay. So a lot in Ireland, in Scotland, in Croatia, in Iceland.
Because I realized like these have to be real life castles. Like these can't be sets.
Yeah, King's Landing is filmed in Croatia, I believe. It's a town in Croatia. And then all of the north is usually filmed in Scotland or Iceland. Like the Beyond the Wall stuff is Iceland, and then Scotland is like Winterfell.
Iceland or Greenland?
Iceland. Is it? Yeah, I think it is
the one that has the ice, and Iceland is the one that's all green, though.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of ice in Iceland too, so I think they just use it for that. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, all over Europe, a lot of really cool spots.
That's pretty cool. See, I got to see. This is why we might have to do another, or we will have to do another episode, because I got to go down a rabbit hole so we could talk about the rabbit hole stuff.
Oh, for sure.
And we could talk about some of the upcoming possibilities.
Oh yes, definitely. We can do that.
So let's see. So yeah, we already kind of covered the Daenerys and Jon thing. So yeah, from there we're already Euron attack. They're headed to, so okay, we're at that first council meeting that I was asking about. The one where Daenerys gets everything together and everybody's basically telling her the soldiers are tired. We're gonna need a little bit of time before we can get ready to get into this next war. But we understand, so this is what we're gonna do. And she kind of just takes offense to people needing rest.
Oh yeah. She wants to turn around, like literally a couple days after the biggest battle ever, and she wants to turn around and take King's Landing.
Well, that's what happens when you're not doing a lot of the fighting and you get to
or any of the fighting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's so true, man. So true. All of these people who never fight are the ones that are trying to get into all of the fighting.
Well, it reminded me of Randall
but it's true though, right? It's like Littlefinger, it's Sansa, it's Arya, not Arya, but Cersei, Daenerys, all of these people who don't fight that are making other people fight. Yeah.
But that moment though reminded me of Randall Tarley when it's like, we can flay the stragglers, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Or not flay, sorry,
flog them.
Flog the stragglers. Which is not as bad as flaying, but it still ain't good.
Yeah.
And so that's what it reminded me of that moment. Like, oh, you don't even care about your subjects.
Obviously not.
As much as you want to say you care about your subjects, you don't care about your subjects. You couldn't possibly care about your subjects.
Right.
And so again, from there, what I did like was on the boat when Varys and Tyrion Varys and Tyrion had a discussion about Dany and Jon.
Right.
And this is before though. No, this is when they're having the discussion of after Sansa has told Tyrion who Jon actually is. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's when they hash all that out. And what I loved about that scene, I'm gonna be honest, I expected Varys to come out of that alive, not Tyrion.
Yeah.
I expected Varys to come out of that alive.
Tyrion betrayed him.
Tyrion did betray him, but I thought his betraying Varys was going to cause Dany to kill him and deem him untrustworthy. Because she already was having these issues with trusting him.
No, we need Tyrion to give the big rousing speech at the end. So we got to keep him around.
You're right. Yep. Yeah. Nobody's more clever.
Yes, that's right. And you know what I hated about that conversation too is that and it's so funny because they had a totally reasonable supposition to make everything happen perfectly was just make them marry each other. And I don't understand why Jon would be objecting to marrying Daenerys if it meant keeping the realm peaceful and intact.
You already saying you in love with her and you don't want the throne and you don't want to be who you are. So why not just say I'll marry you? That was a question for me too.
Yeah. And the only rebuttal they had was Varys said she's too strong for him.
Well, because what I think, so this was the reality. It's what I think what Varys was getting at was what was already said and what was the reality. You'll always be a threat now that she knows who you really are.
I guess, but even then,
I think even if they had gotten married, even if they had continued to have, that is still incest, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure, like, I know it's wrong. I'm just, what is the term for it? But if they were to still commit incest, it wouldn't change the fact that in her mind, all he has to do is tell somebody.
Yeah, but they already know. Everybody already knows. The thing is, too, is that even after she burns down King's Landing and he sees her again, she's like, let's conquer the world together, baby.
Yeah.
Like, so there was no it doesn't, I'm not convinced that he was going to be a threat to her to the point that she would kill him because she didn't kill him. She didn't kill him.
Before. Yeah.
I don't had every reason to kill him. Exactly.
Well, no.
So what does it matter?
Excuse me. No. I'm wrong. I'm saying that incorrectly. I don't think she was thinking of killing him, but I think the moment she thought she had no choice, she would have killed him.
I don't know.
I don't think in that
I
moment,
don't believe it. I think that's just convenience, to be honest. I think that's a convenient explainer. There was nothing to suggest that she would kill Jon. There was nothing.
I agree. There was nothing there. Yeah.
She literally burnt down a city and then was like, let's rule together. I love you. She still loves him. So why? well, why couldn't they just get married and then she can
because
rule?
She only loved him on her terms, though.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Like,
but we act like love matters in a marriage in Game of Thrones. Like that doesn't matter.
If we're talking about the fact that Jon said he wanted to do the right thing for the realm, 1000%, he should have just went along with whatever they said.
Yeah, I agree.
The reality of him telling Sansa and Arya, them going forth telling Tyrion telling Varys, which is what got Varys killed. And
can we just also say I do not appreciate that we didn't get to see Sansa and Arya be told about Jon?
Yes.
It just cuts away right after.
Right, he's like, because I wanted to see their reaction.
I did too. I wanted to see that conversation. Why wouldn't that be a conversation that you would show us?
I'm thinking the reason is because for whatever reason, somehow, some way, they were not able to shoot that because someone wasn't on set.
No, it's just because they didn't know how to write dialogue. They are bad writers and they're out of book material.
Say it again.
I mean, seriously, like they don't have George R.R. Martin to copy off of. So they're like,
was he never a part of the writing room aside from the source material?
No, he was a part of the writing. But the thing is that the reason the story and the writing were so good for the first 4 or 5 seasons is because they were based on the books. After season 5, there is no book material. So the concept of Jon telling Arya and Sansa that he's a Targaryen isn't written yet. It's not written yet. So they didn't have the conversation to cheat off of.
Right, because I didn't appreciate how you have all this swear to me. Okay, Bran, you tell him. Wait, what?
And then cut. Like, what?
And why is Bran telling them if you made them swear already? Just tell them.
Yeah. Can we push Bran off a cliff?
We can, in fact.
Yes, we can.
I'm sure he'll survive.
Podrick, please.
Hey, Pod. You want to really earn that gold cake?
That's right.
So let's think. So yeah, once we get there, the whole King's Landing massacre, for what it is, getting there was quick. We get there, we start. Tyrion and Qyburn talk. Tyrion gets tired of talking to Qyburn. Tries to appeal to Cersei. That don't work. She has the mountain chop off Missandei's head. We already know where that was going. Did you just chop off Missandei's head? Listen, even if Daenerys didn't respond the way she did, Grey Worm was about to ignore some real orders.
Oh yeah. Him
and the Unsullied were about to go crazy, whether you liked it or not.
Well, and they did. You saw
he absolutely did.
Yeah, he turned into a crazy.
He absolutely did. Like, the man had on no helmet for the whole war.
None. He was just stabbing people over and over and then slitting their throats.
Yeah.
At the end.
He had become such a, and I'll say it in this term, he had become such a disgusting killer at a point. It was that notion of you don't even know the difference between killing and murder.
Oh yeah. The depravity of war. Yeah. For sure. Right. Yeah.
So once all of that commenced, though, we knew what was going on, and everybody was pretty much just trying to get out.
Did you see the burning coming?
Yeah. Not gonna lie. I did.
You saw that coming?
I'm gonna tell you why I saw it coming. She was having too much fun originally taking out the armed forces.
Okay.
And when she was taking out the armed forces and the way they were continuously showing us on camera, them scurrying everybody into the buildings and how everybody couldn't get into certain areas and everybody didn't have somewhere to go, it was like, okay, these people are gonna die. I just don't know how yet. Like, is it gonna, and I thought of the fact that there were the green wildfire caches still.
Oh yeah.
I thought about that. And the fact that Daenerys is aware, she was told about them.
Right. Yeah.
She was told about those wildfire caches under the city. So my thoughts was this. And this is what made me think about it. I was like, I didn't think they were going to sound the bells, one. I did not think they were going to sound the bells. So that's why I thought it was going to continue. And that's why I saw the burning coming. One of the reasons I saw the burning coming is I didn't think the bells were going to be sounded. Because I know Cersei wasn't going to give the go ahead.
Right.
So I felt like she was just going to continue to destroy things, and eventually people were going to start dying, and she was going to go into what she did, a bloodlust.
Yeah.
But when I did see that coming, or excuse me, when I did see the bells, when I did hear the bells, it was really just everything in accumulation. For what reason did she have to care?
Does it care about what?
The people.
Yeah, I suppose. And yes, you're right. It's just that it goes against everything that you've set up as that character before.
Yes.
that's the issue, right? So it's
I'm sure for you that's not a bad thing because you said you saw that coming early, but I
saw it coming after season 2, I think, because I could just see like how okay with killing anybody that was in her way she was, but it didn't necessarily strike me as a good enough reason for her to go cuckoo bananas, and you did set her up to be that sort of like, savior figure and somebody who was trying to be a good ruler, who was listening to Tyrion and trying to temper herself. And so it was like, yeah, I could get that you might snap, but
just a little bit.
Yeah. I'm like, I totally get that, but I just feel like there should have been a little bit more going on. And I think there was, but it just wasn't. I don't know. I feel like there was one more step that was missing between her being kind of ruthless queen and then just slaughtering millions of people. Like there was like it felt like there was a rung of the ladder there missing. Or just like we jumped from from like, okay, this might be a problem to, she just committed genocide.
Crazy. Yeah. Because that was the part that got me. I thought she was going to just go destroy the castle. It was the genocide that I was like, wait.
Yeah, exactly. She could have gone to the Red Keep and blown it to bits, and that would have been fine. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much for me where everything really went crazy. And yes, I did. So yes, I saw the burning coming, but simply because I didn't see anything to stop her.
Oh yeah, nothing could stop her.
I didn't see the bells stopping her, so I didn't see them coming at all. But if I'm being clear, I thought she was going to try to also kill Jon, and that she was going to find out Jon was impervious to fire as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we never got that answered.
Got that answered.
Yeah.
Irritating.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe in the books.
Yeah. When are we gonna get those? In our 60s?
Nah, never, probably.
Because he's looking like he's in his 70s?
Yes. And he's got 2 books to write. And each of his books are usually about 500 pages. 600
I'm sure
pages.
We'll get those books in the form of memoirs.
Maybe, if there's anybody to write them. Yeah.
I don't know. I believe that the drafts are written. I don't think that the full something I do think about some of these artists, and I could be wrong, and I will call them artists. When you're writing books like that, that is art. Mm-hmm. What I believe is that their source material, like wherever they're pulling from, they're jotting notes and crap down all the time. It's just a matter of pulling it all together. So I'm pretty sure that in essence, the book is written, but the story isn't written.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, I'm sure there are elements of the story that's already solidified, but we'll see. But okay, so we got the sacking of King's Landing. Yes. And basically just sort of like the turmoil that happens, kind of like you see people get bloodlust, as you said. And basically
it wasn't just Daenerys, huh? It was Daenerys and
and Grey Worm and all the Dothraki and the Unsullied. They were all going crazy.
Dothraki. You're right. Yeah.
Even some of Jon's men were starting to, try to rape women and stuff, and like,
Right. I think they were riding that high.
Yeah.
And it's a contagious high.
Right. It's the madness of war, right? And, like people do crazy things during war. So that's where you see it. I thought that was a really good interpretation of like how muddy the waters can get when you're at war. Like, you think you're the good guys, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, we're the bad guys. Like Jon had that moment on the battlefield where he's like, right. Oh, we're the bad guys.
Right.
he thought he was having a, like a victorious moment. And then he realized, oh, we're killing innocent people. Mm-hmm. We're not good. We're not good people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting. I would have loved it if we could have seen some more of what Jon's, thought processes were. That would have been nice.
On the battlefield?
Or just at all.
Okay.
Just at all. Like, because basically, like, he just, like, after the battle, Daenerys has her little Hitler speech, right?
Right. And, man, if that wasn't the biggest Hitler speech ever.
Right.
That was
she's basically
1936.
I mean, like, she's literally like almost goose stepping in front of her Dothraki and her Unsullied, like, seriously. And I think but I think it's so funny too, because, like, I think even at some point in her speech, she was saying the names of certain towns or, like, cities in Westeros, and she said Winterfell, which is like a German way of saying it. So, like, even her Valyrian was like, I think they told her, do your Valyrian with a German accent, because we really want this to be like Hitler,
and that was top of the stairs. In front of the entire,
in front of all of her soldiers. She was even wearing a very, like, red and black, sort of
had
thing.
The arm sash and all that. You're absolutely right. Wow, they did that.
Yeah.
They did, even with the way it was layered. I forgot what was that. Wasn't the dragon, but the dragon was up here. So the dragon would be the semblance of the tank that was off to the side.
And literally, when she's walking towards the steps, the dragon's wings flap out from behind her, and she's got the dragon wings. Yeah,
that I thought was amazing. But now thinking about that, I'm thinking that was just like a semblance of evil.
Yeah,
it's
just it's a nod at, like, the dragon motif for sure.
Yeah, or
the devil,
a demon. Yeah. There you go. But no, absolutely, they did all that. And it was snowy. Isn't that something?
Right. Which apparently was not snow, it was ash.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out if it was a fine line in between the two, because it was very light and floaty and you could tell that some of it was ash. I kind of credited that to artificial snow.
Yeah.
But
I think it's
the ash makes sense.
Yeah, but even it does look like snow. It definitely looks like snow. But so and then basically, like, so Tyrion quits, right? Tyrion quits Hitler after the Hitler speech. Yeah.
Well, first he found Cersei and Jaime under the rubble and had his little cry out. Then he walks up as she's having her speech, and I thought he was going to try to kill her.
And by the way, Jaime and Cersei all they had to do is walk 10 feet, and they would have not been dead.
Been protected under the little arch right there.
Yeah. The arch that was totally clear.
Or stand under the dragon, inside the dragon skull, which clearly didn't.
Which did not get hurt. Yeah.
They were pretty. I agree. They could have been alive.
They could have.
But so after he does that, and then so I thought he was going to kill her when he first came up. I didn't know how. Tyrion.
Oh, you thought Tyrion? Oh, yeah.
And that's
Tyrion calls for that. He's gonna go make somebody else do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. So with Tyrion, I feel like if you're going to kill Tyrion. Don't leave him in a cell for a couple of nights.
Right. Only for him to talk his way out of it again.
Because that's what he's going to do every time. If you're going to really try to kill Tyrion.
I mean, talk about failing upward.
like all the time.
Every time. It's like, oh, you're a prisoner. Let's make you hand.
Hand prisoner.
Yeah.
Young prisoner hand. So let's think. Where else? So we go from Tyrion. So
basically, Tyrion's in jail now. Yeah.
Tyrion's in jail, and that's when Arya walks up to Jon, and after Daenerys is walking away, and they're gonna walk Tyrion away to his cell, and all of these things, which all of a sudden you take prisoners,
right? Yeah.
Which is the part that I didn't like. Like, oh, now she takes prisoners. Like, listen, he should be dead already.
Yeah, he's been useless. He's been useless for the entire time.
Yeah, so. You killed everybody else on site. What's the difference? So anyway,
right.
Get Jon in there, talking Jon up, and Jon, I don't want it. She's our queen. She's your queen. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I love you.
Oh my god, dude.
You can't do that in the same episode.
In the same, literally the next scene, after he's saying, I'm not going to kill her, he goes to see her. And the thing that makes him kill her is, what if the people don't think that your way is the best way or something like that? And she's like, well, then we'll make them, you know, like,
which is what she was telling you from the very beginning. Now I'm forcing them to do what I want.
Yeah,
she's been saying it the whole time. This wasn't fresh news.
She's been saying that since the season 2, when she, like, you know, conquered Astapor. She killed
the first person.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
She had always said she was gonna rule and try not to kill an Essos. Oh, she never said that about Westeros.
No, that's true. No, all bets are off in Westeros.
Once, and that was the part that had to click for me. Was like, oh wait, she never said anything about not killing. She clearly said to kill the men in iron suits and tear down their homes. Well, if you're tearing down the homes, that means you're killing everybody else that lives in there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, she manages to do it. But I mean, like, so they have their little chat in the throne room, and she's trying to, like, convince him to join her. And
no, he's trying to convince him to give her a baby.
Yeah, that's true too. But Jon decides to put a knife in her heart while they embrace. I'm sure that scene would have been a lot more impactful had they actually had a decent relationship. But it just didn't feel like
before he had to kill her, or some type of passion. Yeah. If he had given in to her whim, I'm not saying they had to have sex, because we had a discussion about why it's not necessarily necessary, but let it be a little more passion, a little deeper of a kiss, a little more passionate of a hug.
They have terrible chemistry together.
Yeah, like a little understanding. Together. No. He's gonna pull away, and she's gonna get all upset about it, and that's gonna be it. And even in this situation, it's like, oh, he's still not really kissing her. Oh, he's kissing her. No. Oh, he's kissing her. Oh, he's not kissing her. Oh, she's stabbed.
Yep. Gone. And then
and if she really had any control, well, and that's what I was gonna say. And if she really had the telepathy that we believe she had with Drogon, why not send a kill order to him immediately before you take your last breath?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but Drogon obviously realized that she was dead.
Oh yeah, he felt it.
Didn't kill Jon though.
Melted the Iron Throne.
Killed the throne.
Which made me wonder. So was that like a directive she gave him? Oh, if something was to happen to me,
no, that was another one of those scenes where they're like, "Hey, bro, you know what'd be really cool? What if Drogon melted the throne? Yeah, so like nobody can sit on it."
Now it's not there anymore. Daenerys got what she wanted. Nobody's gonna have the throne.
That's right. She broke the wheel finally, man. Oh. And then we put the wheel on Bran's chair.
Yeah. There's your wheel.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. No. And so sincerely. So right from that moment of him stabbing her, and then Drogon sniffs her and sniffs the knife and knows Jon did it.
Oh yeah, he knew. Didn't kill him.
Why not kill Jon?
I guess it's because dragons can't kill Valyrian or Targaryens. Maybe they're not allowed to. I don't know. I have no idea. But but either way, Jon turns himself in afterwards.
That was weak. I don't understand that. I think he could have took Grey Worm and the rest of them out. No problem. He has way too much honor.
Or he could have literally just walked away, met Arya, who he said, "Wait for me," and they could have just went back to Winterfell, and that would have been the end of it. You didn't have to tell any of the Unsullied. Clearly, the only thing that was around Daenerys was Drogon, and Drogon takes her and leaves. Yep. So there's not even any evidence that she's dead.
Yep.
You could have just left, bro.
Well, and that's the whole thing. It's like, for whatever reason, Jon just is too honorable in this particular season. It's like, dude, for what? For what? Just write. Look, do like the writers are doing. Don't care. Write this thing on out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but then he gets imprisoned, which just infuriates me because I'm like, okay, seriously? And then they didn't even allow him to be a part of the council meeting.
Well, and not just that. So he turns himself in. He's the prisoner of Grey Worm, Torgo Nardua, whatever the hell. Here's my issue with that. Soldiers don't hold prisoners.
No.
And you were appointed the Great Warrior. Guess what? She ain't here no more.
Yeah.
Also, where's your mind? When do you start to control what goes on in your life? Oh, I guess when you decide to go to Island Noth, huh? For what?
Yeah. To go die from the poison butterflies that inhabit the island that kill anybody but the islanders that live there.
That's crazy. Never heard that before.
That's a real part of, that's why it's funny because, if anybody knows the lore of Game of Thrones, Noth has these butterflies that are basically anybody who visits Noth will die because these butterflies are like poisonous. And the people who live on the island are immune to the poison, but everybody else who visits dies. So it's like Grey Worm is just sending the Unsullied to go die on Noth.
And he knows this. Well, of course he would.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't, because they didn't add that factoid into the show. But everybody laughs because it's like, oh, he's gonna go Noth. He's gonna go die from the poisonous butterflies, I guess.
I mean, it sounds like someone who followed Daenerys would do after they've lost everything,
right? Well, I mean, like he didn't even want to. They didn't want the reach. They didn't want to. They were gonna give them nothing. They didn't want nothing.
They were gonna give them the veil.
Yeah, that's right.
And not only that, you're not even gonna go back to Essos where Dario is still in charge of Marine.
Yeah, what happened with that?
Like that's a side of the world that actually still runs the way that your queen left it.
What if he's just like a drug lord now?
I'm sure he is.
You know, like
it's Dario Naharis. Yeah. I'm sure he is. And so like we were saying, so Tyrion was in prison. He convinced Jon to go and kill Daenerys. Here we are. Jon is the prisoner of the Unsullied, which the Dothraki aren't even discussed anymore. It's just the Unsullied at that point.
Yeah.
And then we find out that all of the great lords of Westeros are all here together, and they are here to decide the fate of Jon.
Mm-hmm.
Or Jon and Tyrion. And so I like the lineup they had as far as the lords of Westeros. The uncle, I always forget his name, but the uncle who married the Willa Frey, Edmure, Uncle Edmure. Mm-hmm. Samwell, Robin was there.
Mm-hmm. Chad Robin.
Chad Robin? Is that his name?
No, but he just looks he got all like, past puberty and now.
Oh yeah, he definitely looks like a Chad. You're right.
Yeah.
He looks like a Chad.
Totally.
The Chad was great.
Yeah.
The Chad was good. No, I'm playing. Hey, if you guys don't get that, and sorry,
right.
Sorry, catch up. So so and we the list of everybody else that was there. I thought it was very cool how Sam brings up, oh, why don't everyone get a vote? So democracy.
Yeah.
Should
I let my dog have a say too?
My horse can vote too. I was like, ouch.
Yep.
Ouch. That is real. But then you have what? Nobody else really came up with everything. Edmure tried to stand and that's the hey, uncle, sit down.
Yeah, he got sunned. He got sunned by Sansa.
Like, bro, you've never had that much power. You will never have that much power. Sit down.
Right.
You don't even like you that much. You know it.
Right.
But so from there, it's like, well, what do we do? How do we move about? I really appreciate how it's like Tyrion wasn't allowed to speak at first.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, he's Tyrion, so he's going to speak. And he's going to continue to speak. And he made good points. And I think when he alluded to, our king should be someone with a story, I think in the consumer or the viewer, all of us went straight to Jon.
Yeah. Who has the better and he says it. Who has the better story? Jon. Jon has the best story.
That's the only person with a better story.
Yeah.
Unless we're just going to talk about Arya and killing the Night King. So actually, there's two people with better stories than Bran.
Yes, exactly. I would take Arya over Bran for sure. Definitely.
You know what? How about this? If I'm talking about rulers and leaders, I'll take Sansa.
Yeah, me too. He's not even. I would take Gendry. I would say let's give it back to the Baratheons.
Gendry has a really crazy story as well. You're right. Yeah, right. There's a lot of stories. Yeah. The only thing, and this is where Tyrion made a really good point. The only thing that makes Bran perfect is he is the memory of man. He knows all of the history. He knows not the future per se, but he knows all of the history. And knowing the history is probably everything you need to not commit the same atrocities.
I suppose, but there are very weird implications about Bran being the king that I do not like. You want some all-seeing entity being the king?
You're right.
So anytime somebody
he knew he was going to become the king, so he came. So yeah, that is a red flag.
Yeah, he literally says, and 2 episodes before he says, "I can't be the Lord of Winterfell because I can't be the Lord of anything."
Right.
And then all of a sudden, why do you think I came all this way so I could be king? Mm-hmm. What? Are you kidding me? What's going on here? And the implications of having like this surveillance state like entity as the king.
I did not think about that.
Like he literally sees everything. So
he's Big Brother.
Exactly. He is Big Brother, literally. And so what happens if there is like a rebellion? He'll know about it. He'll see them.
Big Brother's on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. He'll squash the rebellion for sure.
The Rock was thrown from the 3rd row in the 2nd chair.
Bran,
his name
broken.
Look, his name, Jeffrey Baratheon. No. not Joffrey, Jeffrey.
Yeah, Bran the Broken. Can you believe that?
I didn't like that.
I did not like that either. I thought that was disrespect a little bit. I was like, oh, come on, bro. He's your king now.
Hell, Bran the Broken. Wow. That's what
y'all gonna do me like that? You can't. You just call me Bran
Raven. Word.
Or Brandon Stark.
Son of Ned Eddard Stark, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Why? Come on, Game of Thrones. Come on.
Well,
and then even the most darkest implication about Bran being king is what happens when we see him last, when he asks about where Drogon is.
Yes.
And he's like, maybe I'll find him.
And
then everybody looks. Dragon? Yeah, and then everybody looks around and they're like, "Oh, okay, well, see you later, Your Highness."
Because I don't think all of them know he has I
don't think anybody knows he can warg.
Oh.
I think that that's what it is. Like nobody knows. None of those people would know that he could warg. They all know he has visions, maybe,
right?
But they don't know that he can control animals.
And if he can warg into a damn dragon, that's going to be a whole nother.
That's a problem.
But what will irritate me about that is if you can warg into a dragon, why not have warged into Viserion? He'd still be alive.
Exactly. Why not fight the Night King? Why not
warg
as a dragon? How awesome would have that been? Where Bran is like, all right, I'm gonna go pop into this dragon real quick.
Right. Like, or maybe pop into the dragon that the Night King had taken control of.
That would have been even better. And like, could you imagine if they had like some sort of mind battle where like they both went into the dragon's brain and then they had to battle each other in order to take control of it? That would have been so cool.
That would have been
man. Just wasted opportunities.
Yep. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Totally.
So Tyrion, proposes and gives a great speech on how Bran would be the best king and why he would be the best king. And the only person that ain't for it, of course, is Sansa.
Right.
And I'm not even mad at her for not being for it because it's like, listen, what did I say to her? Same thing I'm going to say to you. The North will not bow.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
And he looked scared to say no.
No, he wasn't going to say no. But then that also just means now the entirety of Westeros is controlled by the Starks.
Yep.
Everything.
No matter how you look at it.
Yeah, you got the King Bran in the south, you have Sansa in Winterfell, and then you have Jon north of the wall. And then Arya in the sea somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the sea. Yeah.
She's taking it over. So, yeah, it's all of those things, Bran being the new king. I didn't like how it happened, but okay, Bran's the new king. I did like his small council, though.
Yeah, his small council was fine. I wish he just had any semblance of a personality, though. Like, I would have liked Bran. Oh God, right? Just some blank-faced psychopath that wants to go warg into a dragon. Jeez Louise. Yeah, he's crazy. He's creepy. I don't like him.
It's quite creepy. I don't think he'll kill as many people as Daenerys if we're gonna, think in terms of what next. I don't think he'll kill as many people as Daenerys, but I do think he'll be a lot more volatile.
Yeah.
And, abusive of his power than people expect him to be. Because he's also a young Three-Eyed Raven. It's not like he really understands what it is to have all that power.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think even he doesn't understand that it is a power. It's not just, I have visions and I can warg. Like, no, you have all of the magical abilities of every entity to ever walk the plane.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like right that the Three-Eye, like, would the first, okay, so here's the question. Would the Three-Eye Raven that taught Bran want him to become the king of the entire realm?
I think, so remember he was kind of saying that they are all one.
What are all one?
Like the Three-Eye Raven. So the last Three-Eye Raven is him. They are the same. They are one person now.
Well, like the entity, it's kind of like the Phoenix Force, right? So it just jumps from person to person, sure. But like, why would the one before him, like, I don't know. It just seems weird. Like, you didn't want him to stay too much in the visions, but like now Bran is going to be the king.
I think
you get to be the Three-Eyed Raven and the king. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's to be the ruler of men in a sense. So the reason that last Raven couldn't, or the last Three-Eyed Raven couldn't do that is the Night King was still alive and still coming to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is no Night King. The most powerful magical being possible would be Bran. And why not be king at that point? Who's going to stop him?
I guess.
What is there to stop him? And the moment you think, guess what? The moment you think he's vulnerable, I bet you he finds Drogon.
Well, and then that shit that he says to Jon as Jon's goodbye with him, when Jon's like, "I'm sorry that I couldn't have been there for you," and Bran's like, "You were exactly where you needed to be," and I'm like, oh. So you're insinuating that Jon needed to have this so that you could be the king. Like, Jon needed to kill Daenerys and then be exiled from Westeros so that you get to be the king. I hate it. I hate it so much. It bothers me. And it looks like your microphone cut out, but there you are. Okay. Are you on? No, I think your microphone is a little bit cut out there. And you might need to toggle the cable a little bit or something. But yeah, anyways, I was going to say, there you go. Nice.
Jeez, I don't know what that was, but
oh yeah, you muted yourself again though. Whoops. But yeah, my whole point was I didn't like the way that Bran was just so like flippant about Jon being exiled away for something that was necessary for Bran to become the king. If Jon hadn't killed Daenerys, Bran would have never become the king. But now Jon needs to go be exiled north of the Wall.
Well, and honestly, I just don't like. Can you hear me? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, you're good.
And honestly, I just don't like that was the decision with Jon. Kill him.
Me neither. Right. Yeah.
Kill him.
Sending him back. Sending him. Could you imagine sending him back to the Wall like that?
What? Well, so I think the purpose of sending him back to the Wall is, again, Bran knows everything already, right? They also, everybody else was already aware, and maybe Grey Worm and them forgot or just didn't care that Tormund was at Castle Black already, and Jon had already said, "I wish I can go north of the Wall with you." When Tormund said they were going to resettle north of the Wall.
Yeah.
So well, it would have been. That's all you did was send him to the Castle Black to go north of the Wall.
Yeah, and I understand, like, that's Jon ends up where he wants to be. I just don't necessarily understand the consistency about that, because I mean, like, I suppose that Bran could have told him, like, hey, I don't know. It just bugged me. It bugged me. The entire goodbye with him and his siblings bugged me, where it's like, all right, well, peace, deuces. We'll see you later. We'll never see you again.
We'll never see you again, right?
Yeah. Even though
Sansa being like five inches taller than him for no reason.
Well, and Sansa also being like 50 miles away from the Wall and the ruler of the North. And the only person that wants him dead is literally leaving Westeros never to come back.
Yeah, that's true.
Who's holding Jon? Who's keeping Jon at Castle Black? Nobody.
Right. Yeah. But Grey Worm just gonna pop back up. Like, is he still there?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
There. I know he's there.
Right. Yeah.
Send me a raven. Let me know
like he's like a parole officer. He's calling Jon every other day.
Jon better send me a raven in his handwriting.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
a raven and a urine sample.
A raven.
Raven in a urine sample, yeah.
Make sure, look, he got to put his bite mark on this. Give me some teeth imprints so I know it's him.
Right. Exactly. Get your dental records.
It's what else would make sense? I get you. You're absolutely right. Like, there is no one to keep him in check on that.
None at all.
So where did all of this go? So Bran becomes the king.
Yeah.
And Bran the Broken is the new king. So then we have Jon goes to the wall.
Yes.
Arya says she's going west of Westeros, and that's where she's headed to. Sansa is now the Lady of the North, or the Queen of the North. Queen. Let's call her Queen of the North.
Queen in the North.
That's what they called her. Queen of the North. Queen of the North. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Togo Nordu, or a Grey Worm, is headed to the Isle of Noth to die from butterfly poison.
Yep.
I really appreciated that Brienne gave Jaime a proper ending in the book.
Right. Yeah.
So at least in history, he doesn't go down as a complete douche.
Right.
I wish we had more on what happens with her, other than her being a part of the Kingsguard.
I assume her and Podrick are friends, and
they just go on to be the Kingsguard. But like I say, I would have liked to at least see them together or something.
And why wasn't Brienne a part of the Queensguard in the North? Why would Brienne be a part of Bran's guard?
Because I believe they trusted Brienne so much that you needed someone who you already have that level of trust in and is capable.
I guess.
I think Sansa gave her up to Bran. I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah.
And also Bran becoming king made me also mad about Willis not making it.
I know.
Hodor would have been awesome.
Yeah, well, he needed to die. He needed to die. He needed to be lobotomized when he was a child, so that Bran could become the three-eyed raven, so that he could become the king at some point.
Right. Terrible.
Yeah.
So let's see. Tyrion becomes Bran's hand, which is his sentence and justice. He has to help fix everything he messed up.
Yeah.
Because Daenerys is pretty much all on him.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's
for sure.
Sam is named the Grand Maester. I think that is fitting. Also, Sam and Gilly are expecting. I thought that was dope.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know that was a little earlier, but I forgot to mention it, so I'm mentioning it now.
Davos is master of ships.
Yep, that's actually the next thing here. Davos is the master of ships, and Bronn is the master of coin. What? Why are you letting Bronn handle the money? Nah, son, you're messing up.
Because he finessed his way into the top, just like,
he definitely did.
Everybody else that's at the top at this point.
Right.
Like, none of them belong there. They're not supposed to be there. Except for Davos, maybe I could see he's a smuggler, so he would know ships. But
I can see that. Yeah.
Tyrion's been a failure this entire time, and
was he ever a good hand? He was he was a decent hand with Joffrey.
Exactly. He was a good hand to Joffrey. Yeah.
But that's because Joffrey was the problem.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That actually, yep. Who is the Lord Commander of the Night Watch? It's not Ed.
They didn't actually say.
It should have been Ed.
I don't know. Ed is dead. Ed died saving Sam in the long. Yeah.
But it should have been Ed.
So I don't know. Should have been. Well, he was until he died, but then I don't know who is now.
It's like how does that work? Who allowed Jon to go north of the wall?
Exactly. And is the Night Watch like a border
boys club now?
Border security?
They're border patrol now.
They're border patrol now because like the Night's Watch existed to watch out for wildlings and White Walkers.
In the long winter.
And the White Walkers are gone, and the wildlings are now friendlies, and the winter is over. So
it's all over. That's it.
No need for else to talk about. No need for the Night's Watch anymore.
Right. So and then the last thing that all happens is Jon and Tormund. They, like we said, Jon gets to go where he was trying to go the whole time, where he said he wanted to be. He gets to mourn the loss of Ygritte and hang out with. I'm pretty sure that Tormund is her brother.
I don't know. I mean, they never really say.
But, they're both redheads. They're the only two redheads we saw with the wildlings.
I mean, yes, that is true. But yeah, there is no.
Yeah, I don't nobody think says so. They're a correlation. But I'm running with it. Ygritte and Tormund were brother and sister, and that's why Tormund liked Jon so much, because even though he never said, "Hey, you would have been my brother-in-law," he knew what was up because the little man had a lot of heart.
Yeah. So does that mean is like Jon gonna go get married now? Is he gonna go have like a? So you don't? You think that he's gonna still hold his vows north of the wall?
No, I don't think he's gonna hold vows. I think at this point he's been in love twice, and I don't think he's gonna give himself to anyone again.
Yeah, he's 25. I think he'll be okay.
He's definitely pretty young, and I think he'll be okay. However, in those days, 25 was half life expectancy. They were only living to like 40, and that's if you didn't go to war.
Right. Yeah.
But Maester Aemon, he was probably really only like 58.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, yeah, you can never tell. Yeah, with all this medieval stuff, but. But then you kind of see that the snow is starting to melt away north of the wall. You're starting to see a little bit of greenery.
Oh yeah.
There was a very small scene where you start to see grass growing. So I mean, I guess that's to say that north of the wall probably is really beautiful without the Night King. Snow. I guess without the snow. Yeah.
So. Maybe. I mean, and that's the question. So does the winter go away? Does everything just melt away now?
That seems to be what they were alluding to. And I guess in the entire series, like the long winters were associated with the Night King, I guess.
What if we find out there's another Night King?
Right. Which there very well could be, because they're still children of the forest somewhere.
Exactly. I'm sure they why I was saying that.
I'm sure they can make another one if they want to.
Because they talk about the realms of man and the first place of man and all that good junk. But what they don't say is whether or not that it's like that all over the world, or if this is like the Garden of Egypt or Garden of Eden or something. Excuse me, Garden of
Eden. Yeah, I don't know. But that's kind of where it ends, isn't it? Jon's the last. That's the last scene of the series. Jon
and Tormund walking off into the code.
Cool. I don't know. Why would you want to go back up to that freezing place?
And where are you guys going? What are you going to do? Are you going to chop down trees and build stuff? And what you going to do until then?
They're going to build a village. Yeah.
You're not going to wait. And well, like we said, the ice was starting to melt. So they did say they were waiting until winter was over. So I'm guessing winter is over.
Yeah.
Or on its way out.
Must be.
We're at the halfway point of winter, and then it's going to kick back up full force
while we're stranded north of the wall. Yeah,
freeze them out. Right, exactly.
Right. So, all right. Well, I mean, come on. Let's send this one home, man. What do you got?
Series overall.
Yeah.
Series overall. This series gets a 3.5 overall. For me.
All right. Yeah.
Reasons. It gets a 3.5 because it did start very well. It had a great storyline, great way to get us into all the characters. Character building was amazing until like the last season. Last two seasons. Yeah, even that one filler, like we both said, season 4 felt like a filler, but it still was good.
Yes. Yes, it was.
The acting was based on chemistry. It wasn't based on talent. I really believe that the acting was based on who got along, who looked the best on camera together when working together. Right. That is how we started. We did not end so much that way. Character changes, celebrity guests, so to speak, or celebrity actors and people who just popped up. I thought it was really cool that Ed Sheeran, right, was in an episode. When Half-Thor became the Mountain, I was excited. I think half that episode, I kept screaming Half-Thor. So there were a lot of great things. The way they introduced the dragons, the way a lot of that played out. Still laughing about the fact that I forgot his name. Jason Momoa was only in one season.
Right.
Oh, Jason Momoa wasn't even in the damn show.
No, barely. Yeah.
So, again, overall, it was a great show, but I'd have to give it a 3.5. We talked about a lot of the things we didn't like. I'm not going to go too heavy on the things I didn't like, just in case we do give the fans that show. But
yeah,
I'll give 3 things I didn't like.
Very good.
One thing I did not like was the rushed ending. Of course, have to put that in there.
Yeah.
Something else I did not like. I did not like how when we were in the city of Karth, the allusion to magic with no explanation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, went that far back. I also did not like just the way they went about trying to make the Stark family the center of everything, and then making the Lannister family the center of everything, and then going to where we ended and how we ended.
Yeah, Starks won,
but
won.
It was never prosed as if it was really a fight from the Stark family. So for the Starks to win, it's like, okay, wait, did I miss something at the beginning? Aside from the fact that the Game of Thrones is a battle of families.
Right.
Well,
that's fair. I think 3.5 is decent. I might be a little bit more charitable and say 4. But that's me being nostalgic. Maybe I did just finish the series as well. So like, perhaps I'm just feeling a little bit less angry about the last season because there are certain things that I picked up that I was okay with, but then there's still just so much blaring stuff that I absolutely don't like. So yeah, it's definitely got to be taken down. I honestly, I would say seasons 1 through 6 are solid for me. And then season 7 starts to get a little bit, the pacing starts to get crazy. And then season 8 just falls right off the rails. So yeah, I mean, like I would say it deserves about an 85 or a 90, which is about a 4 for
that's
me.
About 4, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I think a 7.5 out of 10 is pretty respectable. It's not bad. There's still a lot. Yeah, there's still a lot to criticize, though. Sure.
I mean, for sure. Just even if we're just briefly touch on the fact of how Jon and Daenerys's future storyline was built up so heavily, and then just cut.
Right.
And I don't mean together. I mean before they even met or knew of each other.
Well, yeah, and then even them like hinting at the possibility of them having a child together, like that they dropped that storyline totally. There's no Jon and Daenerys child, even though they hinted at it many times. So
I can only count twice, but yeah.
I mean, twice is enough, especially in season 7. They were definitely trying to make Daenerys pregnant at some point.
Yes,
like that was in their mind to do.
And I feel like the first time they had sex, and then we found out that he was who he is, or that came across to him, I thought the next scene was gonna be her finding out she was pregnant.
Right.
And now that being a part of the whole, and see if they had done that, her going off the rails, getting a little ultra emotional in the wrong
that would have made sense.
It would have made sense. It would have been like, oh, I see what they're doing here. It's the hormone imbalance.
Well, just the emotional hit of having, a child with somebody that you love. And then,
right. And that's what it would have stemmed from, is now you're trying to harm the one thing on this planet I love the most, my child. Like, but of course it was, oh, well, she can't have babies. But remember, we kept talking about, but if he's a Targaryen, which we were talking about that before I found out he was a Targaryen, but if he's a Targaryen, maybe she can have kids.
Or maybe, like Jon said, the witch was lying. Yeah. Which is totally possible. Like, I don't know why she just took her word for it. That was also the lady that killed your husband.
Right.
Come on.
Right. And again, let's just be clear. Daenerys wasn't the brightest.
No, of course not.
Maybe the meanest, but not the brightest.
Not the brightest. But yeah, all right. So we should definitely do an episode in the future where we talk about a little bit more of the nerdier Easter egg deep dive stuff. I'm sure there's some questions that you probably have and some things that you want to, investigate and look into. So I think it'd be cool if we have another conversation about this in the near future, and we can just kind of put a bow on all of this. And yeah, we've done it. We finished Game of Thrones, man. That was a lot of fun. Nice. It was nice.
I can honestly say, again, for all of those who were curious how I would feel at the end, I can say I enjoyed it. Oh,
you went back on mute. Hold on. It doesn't like your microphone doesn't like you today for some reason. You just gotta hold on just one moment. He's gotta tinker around. There we go.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my microphone switch settings up, so if it goes off again, I just click it without going through the
Right there, you go. Yeah.
What was I saying? That just got me.
No, I totally spaced out. So, but no, I was saying originally that we could definitely do another episode when we talk about sort of like the stuff you want to investigate, the questions you might have, all of that stuff. I think there's more conversation to be had for sure.
Definitely, there's a lot more things that can be said. There's a lot more Inquisition, and I'll actually watch the after parts. Well, maybe not all.
Oh yeah,
but quite a few of them, and catch up on some of that, because I'm sure they'll drop little gems.
Oh yeah, totally.
But yeah, overall, that's what I was saying is I actually understand how you were willing to watch this twice. Like, I might be willing to watch this twice. It was good. It was not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't one of those things that really make you think to yourself like, "Oh, why am I watching this?" It was really nice, aside from some of the can do without moments.
Of course, because aside from all criticisms aside, the drama is great in this show. The storylines are very good. The first 6 seasons, in my opinion, are great. I don't necessarily have too many complaints about the first 6 seasons. It's really just 7 and 8 that really kind of put a damper on it. But like, it's got it's funny, but when I first saw the ending, I thought to myself, "Oh, I may not be able to ever watch this again." Yeah. And I'm glad that I took another chance to watch it, because I do really appreciate everything before it falls apart. Like, it's a really great story before the last season.
Well, and a clear sign to me that they were reaching at the end was that crazy lustful stare that Daenerys had. It was like, was that even written in, or did it just feel right?
I don't know. I don't even think they know. I think they just went for it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was. I didn't understand it, but yeah. So overall, there are definitely a few things that we could pull and discuss a little further. I enjoyed it. A lot of great killings, a lot of great action scenes, great dialogue, a lot of good lines. If I had to put it up against some of some of the other shows I've watched in maybe the last 3 or 4 years, for me, because I know I'm much later to this than others, but the last 3 or 4 years, this would probably hit my top 10.
Nice. Yeah, I think it deserves a spot in the top 10 for sure.
It's definitely above that Netflix Marvel run.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't blame you on that. I don't blame you on that one. Well, awesome. That sounds good. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for listening. We very much hope you appreciated this episode. We had a very fun time watching the entirety of Game of Thrones and having chats about it. And we hope that you guys enjoyed our spirited conversation this evening. We very much appreciate you, and please consider giving this video a thumbs up and giving our channel a subscription on YouTube. It very much helps us out. We saw that we're getting some pretty good numbers and viewership, and we really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch our videos. Like, we do this so that, we hope to bring some enjoyment to you guys. And if we're doing that in any way at all, then we're just very grateful for that. So thank you. If you want to check out what Keelan does on his podcast, If Numbers Could Talk, that is on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Please go check that out. He's on YouTube and he's got a Facebook page. Just check it out, If Numbers Could Talk. I also got a podcast on Monday and Friday called Exofathom. You can follow me on Facebook or YouTube as well. But if you want to be a purist and just keep that screen time continuum going, we will be back Saturday morning or afternoon for Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 3. So please stay tuned for that. And thank you for taking this trip with us through the Screen Time Continuum. For Screen Time Continuum, I am Nick.
And I am Keelan.
Good night, everybody.
Later, guys.